I think we're live. We have a 30-second delay. So we got a 30-second delay in case anybody gets any bright ideas. So I could just cut the stream or pause the stream or something. We'll get to that if it ever comes. So I've got the chat off, so we can't see the chat. The chat in OBS or Discord. Sorry, it's my first time setting this thing up, so cut me a break. Turn the light on so I can be seen. And I want to move this there. I want my live stream open in YouTube Studio so I can see it. So I can react. There we go. Both places at once. No, you don't have to be at, you can be at both places at once. I've got 3 windows open. So, but I'm relatively on time. That's a cool thing. I got an airbrush compressor from my neighbor who's letting me use it till I don't see that without the. I mean, it's a legitimate compressor. It's got the crankcase here. This is the piston, and then it runs the air off here. What I want to do is, oh, I don't think I need that plugged in anymore. I want to get a tank, just an air tank. I can't hear you on Discord. You're muted on Discord for some reason. Where is Discord? Why are you muted?
Can you hear? Test, test,
Yeah,
test, test.
yeah, I
Hey,
can hear you
now you
now.
can.
Yeah,
Okay, I was talking before. Okay, cool.
I think you've got to unmute yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I unmuted myself, but I was talking before, and someone else was here that stopped by to say hi. We heard each other,
Oh,
but you didn't hear us.
oh, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I don't have anybody. I haven't muted anybody, so
Yeah, I figured it was just a first-time volume problem.
and I don't think I can mute anybody. So yeah, I don't see where I can mute. I guess I can. Oh, I can right click and do that. So anyway, this is the first. Well, not the first attempt, but the first attempt that actually had people come in. What I want to do is get an air tank. You can get these on Amazon for like $30. It's just a supplementary air tank. People buy them for like air horns, something that takes a lot of air. and you can get them all the way down to like a half a liter, third of a pound, something like that, a third of a gallon. Excuse me. And connect that to the compressor, to the airbrush compressor I got, and then install a solenoid cutoff valve. It has the two gauges with the adjustment knob like all compressors have. So basically, when the tank gets up to the pressure you want, it just cuts the power off to the compressor instead of letting it run and burn itself out. So basically, turn this thing into a little miniature nice compressor that I can run airbrushes off of and get a nice steady stream of air so I don't get blobbing and spurting and stuff like that. So
Hey, are you hearing a buzzing sound coming through from me?
no,
Okay,
no.
because we're in the middle of the 13-year and 17-year cicadas, and there's a constant
Ah,
hum in the air from billions of cicadas.
oh yeah. Those are supposed to taste like almonds, from what I hear,
Yeah, no, not
raw.
interested.
They're supposed to be good. I mean,
Yeah, it
Americans.
sounds exactly.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Americans are
It
like,
sounds exactly like.
you go.
Okay, I was going to say it sounds exactly like the movie Them with the giant ants.
Yeah, yeah, they do. I come from Ohio, so I lived in Ohio
Oh
all
yeah,
my
that's right.
life,
You do. So,
so I'm
so
well
you would have
familiar
had
with
them too.
cicadas. Cicadas. Try and focus my camera a little better. Hmm, can't be the best there is there? Anyway,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know. The only insects we eat are expensive seafood insects.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
In reality, there's no difference.
we're the only culture that doesn't eat insects as a food. Mexico, uh, mosquito eggs are a delicacy. They farm them. I'm sure they don't take them out of ponds and
Yeah.
uh, old car tires. But yeah, I mean, I've eaten ants before. Black ants. You can't eat the
Yeah, I
red
did.
ones.
I had survival training, so they made us eat bugs to
Yeah.
show you you can.
And ants don't taste like anything except for like the piss ants, the little bitty ones that get in your
Yeah.
house. Those are horrible. Those have a horrible smell, like a
Oh,
plasticky industrial smell.
yeah. They're what's my one exterminator friend called? Odiferous lab ants or something like that.
I don't know,
It's like he's an exterminator, so he told me all about them once.
but they're horrible. They just smell awful. But yeah, snails. I was raising snails for a while
Yeah, I've had snails
as a
before.
food source. We don't have the
I like oysters and clams.
yeah, yeah, they're nasty to cook though. You gotta get your water real hot. You have to add uh, vinegar to cut the mucus, and you gotta plunge them in there. Make it, you don't want to crack the shell and dig them out. You want to make sure they're in the shell, and they're great with butter and garlic and a little bit of Parmesan cheese and some parsley. They're excellent.
Sounds interesting. I'm not a big fan of crawfish either.
Uh, I love crawfish. Pinching tail and sucking head.
Eh, Too much work for too little reward.
True, true.
It's it's like s'mores. S'mores are the most labor-inducive snack ever for the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, it's just chocolate marshmallow. And these are my favorite candy. Love
Oh,
them.
I hate malt. Oh, I
Love
do
them.
not like. No, like I could tell, like if Do you make shakes or malts? Well, we make shakes, and these taste malt in it. That just ruins it for me.
I love chocolate malted shakes. Excellent. It's like the science. It's like the science candy. Malted
Yeah,
milk actually changes chemically when you malt it, so it's like has a lot of science built into it. But my dad got me hooked on Whoppers a long time ago.
your dad was a light colonel, right?
Hmm. Yep. Never made it to full bird. He just didn't have the. He was done. Once he bought his first house in Ohio and got to the point where he could retire, he gave it a few more years and called it quits. But he had both sleeves full of hash marks, both campaign and what years in service, something like that. Can't remember what the other sleeve is for. The little short ones are campaigns. I think that's
Yeah, the
right.
right side is always your
And then
combat tours, and your left is
yeah,
your just normal service.
yeah, he was something else. He uh, got 2 silver stars, a bronze star, both decorated multiple times. He was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, the highest medal given to a civilian or to a military person during civilian time, during non-war times, something like that. But yeah, he was quite decorated. He was listed in the Outstanding Young Men of America in 1975, I think. Not an easy book to get into, and I'm a little out of breath today, so I'm breathing a little heavy. So they can't hear you for some reason. Let me see if I can fix that.
I'll keep talking. So
Hmm. Yeah, go ahead and keep
test one,
talk.
2, 3.
You should be coming over. You're coming across on the desktop audio fine.
I don't want to go there with a 30-second delay. I'll never be able to tell.
Well, that was at 12:08, so it might have been when.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was screwing around with the sound. So no one else has complained. So and
Well, we should get other people in here. We need a replacement for Jose. I think you're the guy.
that could be. Bev said he was going to drop in. I guess he threatened me with that. Like that's some kind of threat, but he said he'd be here.
Petey, get in here. George.
Let me see what I can do. Um,
Oh, put the link for the Discord in the chat. Do that again.
oh, I pinned it, but I can put it in there again.
Okay. Is this Siggy in here that hasn't said anything? That's probably just awake.
Yeah, he's probably he's been in here for a while. Let me create an invite to the channel to the voice chat. And I gotta find the window. Yeah, so OBS doesn't like to share video with anything else. That's one of the problems I was running into with Zoom is I had Discord
Amazing.
open, or I had uh, Streamlabs open too, stream the debate on my end, and it wouldn't let me show my camera on Zoom. So I had to panic and refix everything. Okay, Petey says he can hear us both. So have too many inputs going to too many places.
That's a bad thing sometimes. Oh,
So
that one guy you put a link to, I checked out his show. It was a good show. Drunk Reacting or whatever it was.
yeah, he's got a pretty good show going. And his production is he's been around for like over a year.
Yeah, he's got some nice equipment. And I mean, when he was showing his studio, when he was playing with the Pokemon cards and stuff. So obviously, he's like serious on the podcast side. I'm glad he's on YouTube now because too many formats. I'm not going to follow you off format and shit like that.
But yeah, I subscribed. He only has like 80 something viewers or 80 something subscribers.
Yeah, the only thing I listen to like on anything else is like Jem's roast because that always gets taken down, but he mirrors it on Odyssey, so I can at least catch it the next day or
Uh,
whatever.
yeah, I wasn't sure where he mirrored it to. No, he takes them down every time because he didn't want to get his channel shut down.
Yeah,
He's one of the few people that honestly deals with the bullshit that's out there, you know?
yeah, he
He doesn't
does.
he isn't trying to prove something with nonsense. Now it's supposed let's see, there's a thing where you can what's this? Huh. It's got a soundboard. Cool. I love soundboards. They're fun. So I'm trying to find. Here we go.
Oh, and those guys on that with the Austin were just tearing the shit out of him in like the last half an hour.
What was that?
Show Austin was on. The two guys were like just tearing the shit out of him for like the last half an hour of the debate.
Oh, Aiden.
Yeah,
Aiden and his buddy, who's not a producer, who was
yeah,
producing. I mean, you're either ganging up on him or one guy's producing and one guy's debating. And this is all just standard YouTube stuff. How can I get to my channel? Hmm. Well, let me find what I wanted to present. Wrong account. Oh, there it is. I've been looking on YouTube to find out how to do self-assigned roles. All the other channels have them, to where you have to read the rules and then assign yourself a role, and then you can comment, or then you can participate.
Jesus Christ.
And I think that's a good idea, especially for people like Bev, who come in and say, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not a Glover, but the Earth isn't flat." Well, he'll have to choose. So the one video I wanted to watch, wanted to show, or wanted to review was, where is it? This one. Why do I have my speakers turned on? There we go.
Actually is. So can we have
Oh, that's better. So this is Anthony Riley. Let me get the link.
Guess no one's ever seen a cicada before.
Okay, how do I cancel this?
Oh, new person.
Hey, Stella
Stella
Luna.
Luna.
How are you
I used to
today?
have two cats named Stella and Luna. Oh, doesn't want to escape.
Yeah, cicadas look like something out of a video game. They look like a mech, like a mecha.
Yeah.
Well, how did they do that? There it is.
I see the screen here.
There it is.
Authorize. I hit authorize. Got it. Huh. Okay, if you're in here, click the watch now.
Are you talking to me?
No, I was just hit the button that said watch together, and it took me to a different screen. So I'm seeing what you got. Here's why there's no point in engaging with science denier, sleeping warrior.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got it full screened. You can see that, right? And we can
Yeah.
see it in the YouTube. So cool.
in this total waste of 2 hours of my time, you will see the following. Number 1. Jeremy admits that he mutes people and even admits that it's hypocritical.
Mute
And number
people.
2. Anti-flat earthers are unable to define atmospheric pressure upon request.
Well, that's just a bald-faced lie. And Jeremy admitting he mutes people? Oh my gosh, he mutes people.
And number 3. They are unable to define gravity upon request.
Yeah. No, nobody can define how gravity is created, but we know what gravity is, and we can say how we see it.
Number 4. They refuse to accept that they deny all evidence contrary to their opinions. And number 5. Jeremy insists that the teaching of New Earth creation is illegal, despite being shown how it isn't.
Actually, no, we don't refuse to deny any and all evidence contrary to our opinion. Our opinion can be wrong, but science isn't. See, we deny all evidence contrary to science. That's what we deny.
And number 6. There is literally no point in discussing science with these people. These people are fanatics. They are delusional. They insist that the definitions of words are unimportant as long as they can ram it home in any way that they see fit. Brace yourself for 2 hours that saves your time talking with these idiots, because I've done it for you.
See, you want to get in.
But you don't talk to us, Anthony. I've just recently I'm not blocked on Anthony's channel now with my new channel. So I'm able to communicate with him. and he will not debate me. He will not discuss anything with me. Nothing. He won't answer a question. The simple question, does the density of an object change in free fall? Because he knows what the answer is. And he knows the answer destroys relative density disequilibrium.
Jem, I was just wondering if why was it that you told Blue Marble Science that you quote ran me off YouTube?
Who said that?
You? I heard you say it with my own 2 ears
When did I say that?
yesterday. Your
I
words were
ran you off YouTube.
Yeah, that was what you told Blue Marble Science. You said,
Oh, and by the way, this is not something I drug up. This is actually something that Anthony Riley reposted as what he thinks is proof of his point.
I don't think I said that, did I?
yeah, you did. I've got it. I can
Are
play
you
it.
still
Would you
on?
like to hear it?
Who cares? Are you still on YouTube? Have you done anything recently?
But you're lying, though, Jeremy. You're lying
Well, how am I lying?
because you told Blue Marble Science that you quote ran me off YouTube.
I think I'm not. But if I did say that, and I don't think I did, but I probably
You
said.
did. I can play it. Would you like to
I
hear it?
probably said, "Oh yeah, I'd like to hear it. Let's hear it."
Excellent. Give me 2 minutes. I'll dig it back out. But I just want
Yes, Anthony Riley has a trouble distinguishing reality from fiction and has a trouble identifying things.
Go
to
ahead.
make sure.
When you were saying,
Go ahead. Go ahead. A person who does fuck all on YouTube these days. Go ahead. Go ahead. He's all over YouTube every day. Always producing videos.
No, why you lying, Jeremy?
Guy who's- Go ahead. Have you got
why you're lying again, Jeremy.
coming from you?
All right, we can skip through this a little bit to the point where he finds it.
Gotcha. But it's not.
This is something that is selectively YouTube off this server because when
dig deeper into how he thought gravity, he measured, he all that stuff. And yeah, they can get a lengthy discussion.
yeah, I think so. You're right. When we get this thinking out of the way.
I bet it's that.
Yeah, I bet it's that. I did say that. I did say I'm running off. I was going to
The other guy was asking for examples of gas pressure without a vessel, without box or whatever. Would inside of a fusion reactor be an
No,
example?
that won't work.
Yeah, you keep talking about
Actually, I know what you're talking about now. You misunderstood. What
No,
I
I've not
said was,
misunderstood.
listen, just listen for a minute. What was happening was, in the chat, I was having a row with Jin and I muted him a few times. And in the YouTube chat, someone said, Jem will run all the flat earthers off, or Jem's run Jin off, or something like that. And I said, I haven't run him off. He's still here and he's unmuted. And then I said, I don't run people off. And then I said, well, actually, I have run one person off, Anthony. But not off YouTube, off this server. Because when you came in here the last
You did say
time...
another guy's not. Sundance Kid or something like that.
So he isn't a liar, is he, Anthony?
Sundance Kid or something like that. I wasn't familiar with the other guy you said.
With somebody in the chat. So I was talking about when I ran you off this server.
So I mean, he goes to prove that Jem is dishonest and lied when he said that he ran. No, he didn't. He actually reposted this, and it completely proves him wrong.
Because I felt that I did, because when you came in here that time and we had a very sort of heated exchange and I muted you and I wouldn't let you talk and you kept trying to talk and I kept muting you and eventually you left. And I felt that I had, I won't say treated you unfairly because I think you probably deserved it, but I think I treated you in a way that would make you leave. So that is what I was referring to, not running you off YouTube.
So 2 questions.
Although you
Given
have
that
to
you
fuck all on YouTube recently, but go ahead.
Given
Oh, and he just moves on. 2 questions. He just moves on, right?
2 questions. Given that you admit and accept that you were muting Jin for being rude, isn't that the very same criticism that you criticised Nathan for why you guys don't go in there?
No, there's a big difference.
Because of Nathan's mute? Wouldn't that therefore be hypocritical, Jeremy?
I do criticize Nathan for that. But, well, I mean, you could look at it like that, yes. You could just say I'm a hypocrite. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. And with Jin, that requires that he is muted. So this is something that is selectively deployed for people who just won't shut the fuck up, of which Jin is one. I mean, it has to be said, most flat earthers are a bit that way, but not all of them. But Jin, he gets it worse than anybody, because if I don't do that, you just can't have a conversation, because he just doesn't shut up ever.
So given
Nathan,
what you've
guys, just
True.
interrupt the conversation.
Whereas Oakley does it to
Jerry admits he mutes people. No, he said you could call it hypocritical if you want.
everyone.
Anthony just can't be honest.
Hang on. Given what you've just admitted and you accepted that you did that to Jim because he won't shut up, that is the exact reason why Nathan calls it Fundy muting, because people rumpus in continually. So
No, see,
Nathan mutes everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Nathan mutes everybody regardless. Nathan mutes people when they start proving a point. That's the
Yeah, right.
difference.
And Jen gets muted because he just goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. When I was in Jen, shut the fuck up and just make your point and listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you
Yeah,
can
no,
at least
that
appreciate
isn't the only time that he uses his mute button, is it?
it really is.
Right.
It really is. No, it's not. No, it's not, Anthony.
You won't-
Use it.
I
All
understand he's your cult leader and you love him, but you know, I don't buy that, Anthony. I think he's like you. He's profoundly dishonest.
It
Profoundly
seems to me it's
dishonest.
hypocritical for you to criticize Nathan yet do the same thing yourself.
The thing is,
No, it's
Jin
not.
gets
It's really not. But if you want to see it that way,
after the other
if you want to see it that way, I think you're pretty much bound to see it that way, and I don't really care. I do what I need to do to manage a conversation here for 50 odd people. Oakley isn't
But
facing
what being
anything like
hypocrite
that,
means,
and he deploys his mute button just so he can preach, so he can scream stuff about salty balls and just generally behave badly.
Because you don't understand most of the arguments, Jeremy. You can't get the rebuttal in when you say silly things like atmospheric pressure is not the same as gas pressure.
It's not. It's not. Atmospheric pressure is created by gravity, and gas pressure is the purposeful forcing of gas into a container above atmospheric pressure.
But it's not.
Okay, so do tell
Well,
me,
I mean,
how is
well, go ahead.
do tell me, how is it different, sir?
So one's measuring the atmosphere. The other is useful when doing chemistry for
Well, let's have a
local
definition for
experiments.
atmospheric pressure. Can we have a definition, please?
Say that again.
Can we have a definition for atmospheric pressure? Because I heard somebody citing different definitions for it before, and I thought, let's explore them, because when we apply those alternative definitions, they kind of debunk the claim that you can have an atmospheric pressure in a vacuum. So let's have some of the definitions that were being cited before.
So what do you mean an atmospheric pressure in a vacuum?
The definitions of gas pressure. Have you got them, Jake? Is Jake still here?
Yeah, none of them reference a vacuum.
Yeah, I mean that's like two. Those are two completely. How would you even say that? Vacuum is the absence of gas molecules, right?
Yeah.
So,
So
you're not gonna have.
What's
Let's
he mean?
look
Flat earthers can't define gas pressure.
Because he's an idiot. That's why he doesn't think that we can define. See, he doesn't believe in gravity, so he won't accept the definition of gas pressure or atmospheric pressure.
Yeah, something like that. I didn't see the card all the way, but I'm like,
Yeah.
what the?
Where are we at here? Oops, shit! I didn't mean to open that. God damn it! Hitting the wrong buttons.
Have gas pressure in a vacuum.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that the atmospheric pressure is measurable, and you notice as you go up with altitude, it gets less and less and less and less, and it approaches zero. It never gets to zero, but it approaches zero, and that is in no way, shape, or form analogous to gas pressure, which is what you measure at a particular altitude or in a particular controlled environment with instrumentation and generally containers to keep separate gases from other gases. But they're not analogous. One is literally the atmosphere of the Earth, which gravity pulls towards the surface, and the other is just a section of experimentation or studying done on the gases here in controlled environments.
Okay, so gravity is not a force. It hasn't been since World War One. Why use a
Say what? It's always been a force.
citing that
Oh
it's
my
still
God.
Yeah.
We still running with this argument. You still trying to get mileage out of it?
Yeah, he still thinks that. Actually, this is like a year old. So, but he does still think that Einstein snapped the wand, and now we don't use anything having to do with Newtonian physics or gravity or anything else. So he still
Yeah, I
thinks
know.
that Einstein superseded Newton, which is ridiculous because Einstein said that he could not supersede Newton because Newton's work is too important as a basis for his. And he said that in the letter to 1942, something like that, the letter to the London Times. And
Right.
Anthony had that paragraph where he said that he could not supersede Newton. He had that highlighted in yellow. And he brought that onto Jose's channel one time. But he forgot to crop out that yellow paragraph, and we all read it. And I demanded he show it, and he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He noticed he didn't crop it out, and then he fixed it. And everybody, including me, was saying, "No, Anthony, show that yellow paragraph." "Oh, I will. Show it now. Show it now. Show it now. That proves you wrong." And he would not show it, and he rage quit.
Because it's a useful measure. Using sophistry.
Say what?
That's pretty typical of him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a thoroughly dishonest, nasty person.
When you say gravity, that's one of those words that requires definition and explanation for what it actually is. So can we have a definition for what you guys think gravity is, please?
Sophistry.
The downward acceleration that causes things with mass to have weight. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's
And
not
you-
a definition.
the effects that gravity has on everything around the Earth. You can't
That's
can't
not
handle
a
it.
definition for gravity.
Well, let's be clear. We're not talking about the laws or theories. We're talking about the thing.
Actually, it's kind of hard to understand him when it's sped up that fast.
Say again.
So it doesn't matter whether you believe gravity exists or not. You can measure the atmosphere. What you attribute to what the cause of it is irrelevant. You can measure the atmosphere. You can measure the pressure, and you can measure that it
Science
decreases.
requires the cause of the effect to be identified, and if you can't identify the cause, then that's not science. But when you say with the word gravity pulling on the atmosphere, we know gravity is not a pull. It's defined since
What? Gravity doesn't pull?
1915. So
But we do
why are
know
you
it's a pull.
redefining the term gravity to suit your model?
You're just wrong.
Because it's useful and it's accurate and it's measurable. So again,
It's wrong.
whether
It's wrong. Why
not,
would you do that when it's
you
wrong?
can't show that it's wrong.
No, it's not wrong. No, the calculations we make with gravity in the calculations prove correct every time we use them.
Because it's measurable.
No, you don't know what you're measuring if you can't even define it.
Okay, so let's go with that. I don't know what I'm measuring, but guess what? We do measure it, and we measure a decrease in atmospheric pressure as we go up with altitude. Do you deny that?
No, but we can also explain and demonstrate that. But can you demonstrate your explanation for how the gradient
I
is
don't
formed?
need to demonstrate the explanation. You and I both agree that with altitude increase, the atmospheric pressure decreases. Done
Oh,
deal.
wow.
So when you say the atmosphere can't exist next to a vacuum, that isn't true, because as you approach zero, you approach less and less and less and less, which at some point we consider a vacuum.
Yeah, but you haven't got a definition for the cause for what you
Anthony Riley's mating call is, yeah, but
believe is pulling it back. You can't define the thing
We
that you're
can
talking
call
about.
it whatever you want. The observation still stands. We measurably see a decrease in atmospheric pressure as we go up in altitude. Nothing you say, no spinning of words changes that.
right. How many legs does a cow have? 4. If you call his tail a leg, how many legs does a cow have? 4. Just because you've called his tail a leg doesn't make it a leg. You can call gravity whatever you want, but it's still gravity.
Right.
So
If you're
we
going
still-
to want to just call it weight,
So what you're saying is it doesn't matter what we call it. So in that case, we'll call it for the maximum bug, and then that would be acceptable.
How about
Is that
weight?
okay?
That will be
Roughly.
hard for us to repeat, though, I feel. Can you choose a easier to repeat?
Well, the point is we can demonstrate both the gradient formation within inside a container, and we can demonstrate gas pressure inside a container. Yet you guys can't demonstrate the thing
What
that you
creates
claim.
the gradient?
Do you
It's
have to eat on the microphone,
Anthony.
though, Anthony? Can you not get through this without sustenance, maybe?
Anthony,
Sorry.
what creates the gradient in the container?
It doesn't matter what we can demonstrate it and prove
Doesn't matter.
it, but you won't accept it even if you demonstrate
What
it.
creates the pressure gradient inside the container? What's
It
causing
doesn't
that?
matter. I'm not making any claim
What do you
other
mean
than
it
I
doesn't
can
matter?
show it. But
Yeah, you are making a claim, Anthony. You're claiming that gravity doesn't exist and relative density disequilibrium is what makes things fall. Go ahead.
Oh, I got nothing.
Okay.
if I explain it to you guys and prove it with real world demonstration, you guys flip me off.
Just let me know if anybody wants to pause this thing to say something. That's
So there's no
Well,
point.
the truth
My
is in
point
acceleration because we can produce gradients in the container in any direction we want via acceleration. So we know that the reason why a stationary container has a gradient within it is because it's undergoing acceleration. We name that acceleration gravity, but you can name it whatever you want.
And it's called digging a little bit deeper, Anthony. It seems like you just want to scratch the surface and then not hold a stance once challenged on it.
So what you call what you call digging a little bit deeper is what I call sophistry and lying. We have a definition
so
for
lying?
the word gravity, and it's not the way you're describing it.
Do you agree with the statement that the pressure gradient created within the container is created by an acceleration? Do you agree with that statement?
No.
Huh?
Why not?
You don't agree with that. So then what mechanism is
We're not
creating?
talking about things that I say. We're talking about your claim that we've got gas pressure in a vacuum. You explain that with gravity, and when I ask you for a definition for gravity, you're unable to define it within current physics.
Anthony, we've been playing this
So
game
why are you using
for
that
many
definition?
years, so we know exactly how this game works. Okay. The name of the game is to try to poke holes in things that we say and not make any statements of your own. But what you're doing is you are making statements of your own.
Yeah, you don't know what gravity is.
Don't you think it's interesting that you can't answer a simple question like, what is creating the pressure gradient on a stationary container? You're not willing to answer that because you know it will just destroy all the things that you're saying. You just want to say, well, it's just magic. Should we just call it magic, Anthony?
Don't twist the words. I can explain it.
They don't
Do
care.
you think it's useful to just call it magic? Would it be more useful to say, no, it's not acceleration, it's just magic, even though we know it's acceleration, because we can make the pressure gradient go away by simply dropping the object, in which the acceleration is no longer affecting the object.
So don't change my words. I can explain it. I can demonstrate it, but I refuse to do that to you people because you dismiss it. So let's go back to the point that I was.
Yes, Anthony. When you tell us you can demonstrate that 2 + 2 is 57, we doubt you on that. We reject that because we can demonstrate that it isn't. So you're dishonest. We're not.
The egg.
So you have the information.
egg.
You don't want to give it to us. So then the conversation's over here. Okay, next.
I think he means his egg. I think we can assume he means the egg.
No, I don't mean the egg. The whole conversation has not come to an end because I refuse to explain and demonstrate scientifically how we have a gradient inside a container. The conversation has not come to an end.
Yes, the conversation is over. We've demonstrated how it can happen. You haven't. The conversation's over. You lose.
All you have to do is give an explanation. We're not bothered.
No, I don't have to at all. And that's reversing the burden of proof.
No, I think you've reversed the burden of proof.
There it is, reversing the burden. You've reversed the burden of proof. The default is the Earth is flat and gravity doesn't exist and we don't move. So I don't have to prove anything to you.
Clearly.
No. Demonstrate a quality of your position. Demonstrate a quality of your assertion.
For how things.
The claim is, gentlemen, the claim is that the gradient is caused by gravity, and you guys are unable to define gravity.
No, the claim is the gradient is created by an acceleration, and we've chosen to name that acceleration gravity.
Okay, so what causes the acceleration?
It's irrelevant to the question of what creates the gradient. We don't need to know what creates the acceleration to know that there's an acceleration that's creating the gradient.
We know what causes
acceleration could be by magic acceleration creating pixies could be creating the acceleration, but we know that the end result is that the acceleration creates a pressure gradient across the container. And this can be duplicated all sorts of different ways by creating our own acceleration, by looking at the pressure gradient when we flip the container upside down and see the pressure gradient rearrange itself again. This can all be demonstrated that it's an acceleration that's creating the pressure gradient. Now, the fact that you guys want to just pretend like the acceleration isn't there is just silly. And it doesn't matter what the source of the acceleration is. There's an acceleration.
You're misrepresenting my position and you keep interrupting and going on.
So, Anthony, if you're in a vehicle, if you're in a room, right, and you see stuff getting knocked around the room, you don't know what's outside that room, can you say that there's a force knocking that stuff around the room? Can you define why that's happening? What's doing it? No, you can't. You can't define it because you can't see outside the room. That's an unknown. But you know that there's an effect of whatever's doing it on the room. Now, it just so happens that room is in a big vehicle and it's rolling down a bumpy road. But you don't know that. Are you going to say that, nothing's happening?
Listen, we know what gives accelerations in current physics today. Newton's first law of motion states that an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by a force. So we...
Right, and that still is relevant. It still happens.
Know what causes acceleration. So when you say the cause of the gradient is an acceleration, and I say what causes the acceleration, the answer is a force. But you don't seem to have a force because gravity is not a force.
Yes, it is. It is. It is a force. We consider gravity a force in Newtonian physics. Not in Einsteinian physics, but in Newtonian physics. And that's where Anthony comes saying that, well, Einstein snapped the wand. We don't use Newtonian physics anymore. No, we do on Earth. We don't in space.
So what causes the acceleration?
Weight is a force. Both Newton and Einstein agreed that weight was a force, and they're both.
So what's the definition of weight then, please?
and they're both describing an effect which will result in a force.
Yeah. So what is the definition of weight in science today, please?
It's a force of gravity. Now, notice I highlighted the word of.
It's a defined term. Can I have the definition for weight in science today, please?
Okay. Force.
Okay. Hold on. Weight. Definition. A body's relative mass of the quantity of matter contained by it, giving rise to downward force, the heaviness of a person or thing. There you go. In science and engineering, the weight of an object is the force acting on the object due to the acceleration of gravity. Some standard textbooks define weight as vector quantity, the gravitational force acting on the object. Others define weight as a scalar quantity, the magnitude of the gravitational force.
Of gravity.
No, that's not sufficient. That is the incorrect answer. Weight is a defined term in physics.
Ah, so you want it defined, but you want to reject the definitions if they don't agree with you, right?
Can I have the definition, please?
If you disagree with my
definition,
if you disagree with my definition, go ahead and give us yours.
Right, exactly.
You guys are supposed to know all the answers.
Well, Anthony, you've read a specific definition, and you're hoping that we will just hit on it, and until we do, you just keep getting to say, no, you're wrong. Just say what your definition is. Say how you disagree with the definition that's been provided. Idiot.
Because it's a defined term like gravity, and it's not the one that you've just cited. It's
okay, so what is it? What is the one that you want to use?
Not me that wants to use it. It's the definition in physics today. It's mass times the acceleration.
There's no definition of physics written in stone on the side of a mountain.
Right, mass times acceleration. The acceleration of gravity, moron.
Somewhere.
Yes, there is.
There'll be varying definitions. So what is your... Go ahead and tell us your definition that's written on the side of Nathan Oakley's temple. Go ahead.
Jeremy, stop shouting. Stop shouting. You don't need to shout. Weight is a defined term in physics today. It is defined as the mass times the acceleration due to gravity.
Yeah, due to gravity. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So you just debunked yourself, dipshit.
But the guy that wrote the physics books is a science denier.
Oh, he's an anti-flat earther, of course.
Like we know that there is.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
That's acceleration due to the temple wall.
Gravity is not a force.
We understand. Go ahead, Doofus.
Still looking for the formula. Cool. Okay.
I need to find a thing for like raising a hand. I need that. I've seen that somewhere. I can't remember what platform it was on, but I want it.
Zoom uses it, and so does Meet.
Does it?
Whoever it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a widget or something I could find with OBS that'll do it, but I probably have to subscribe to what do they call it? Premium or whatever.
Right. I tried OBS a couple of times. I didn't like it. Streamlabs is all right.
Yeah. I use Streamlabs. OBS is a little stripped down for me.
All right, so now we have weight is mass times acceleration.
Yeah, we have weight and we experience weight.
Sorry, you've done it again. That's not the definition. It's weight equals mass times acceleration due to gravity. So we've got the term gravity again, and we know it's not a force. So
hold on a second, Anthony. What did we learn from Einstein? That gravity is a fictitious force. What is a fictitious force? Does that mean it's not a real force? No, it's just a force that is not a force in all frames of reference. The same thing as centrifugal force, but we all agree that centrifugal force is a real thing, right? Like if I spin a can with you in it fast enough, the centrifugal force will crush you and kill you, even though it's a fictitious force. The effects of it are very much real. It's just not a force in all frames of reference. That's all that means. And gravity is the same way. It's not a force in all frames of reference.
Right. And Anthony and all flat earthers don't understand that fictitious doesn't mean non-existent. It just means it doesn't exist in all frames of reference.
That's why it's a fictitious force. That's what Einstein said.
You're using the term gravity, you're not defining it, and you don't seem to know it.
And Einstein said in his paper, in his letter to the London Times, that gravity is one of the forces. So he didn't supersede Newton, and he said he couldn't supersede Newton at all. So
we know that he superseded.
You've read that paper, Sleeping Warrior.
I'm going to block Sean so that don't hear Sean.
Anyway.
Don't block anyone, Anthony. It just makes it difficult. If he goes on too much, I'll stop him. Don't block anyone.
Yeah, well, okay, let me address Sean and only Sean, nobody else but Sean. Fight the Flat Earth invited George Musa onto his show, and he confirmed that the position with Einstein, and he demonstrated by his own work, he explained and elaborated on his own work, that Einsteinian gravitation is the current position in science. It did supersede. He did confirm that. Thanks, Fight.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Can and do.
No, he didn't. And he George Muser explained on that show that you're full of shit.
As a force. That doesn't.
Absolutely.
Can I have a timestamp for where you believe he said that, please?
We need to work it through.
All you have to go to your timestamp where he says gravity is not a force, and then just get the other half of that sentence that he said, instead of pretending that he only said the first half, which is what your entire argument rests on, you quoting half of a sentence.
Right, and the yellow paragraph that was on that paper he presented the last time he was here proved it. Oops.
No, it doesn't.
It's
It's
just
defined.
bothering you, Anthony.
Gravity is defined, gentlemen, and none of you seems to know what
Well,
it is.
you are defining reality using half a sentence.
No.
That's not the way to. That's not
The
good
continuation
reasoning.
of the sentence was we can, we do, we must think of Newtonian gravitation as a force. That doesn't mean it really is a force, but we don't have to work if it really is now.
Oh, what have I done here? Hold on. I wanted to do something. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Case fucking closed because everyone else on the fucking planet uses Newtonian gravity the exact same way that you just read it, and it works every
From those in current physics.
And if you
His
don't like
Earth
it,
is
then
not
why don't you give us
reckoned.
your definition of the acceleration we experience here on Earth, and we'll call it whatever you call it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what I call it. It matters what science calls it, and it's
Yeah,
not a
well,
force.
science calls
We
it
can't
gravity.
call
I
gradient.
thought science didn't get to name things. Isn't that part of your doctrine? Science can't speak, right? Science is just a method. Remember? You're forgetting the doctrine. You want to get back to the temple, dude.
Science is defined, isn't it? It's the observation of the physical and natural world
Yeah.
through observation and experiment. That's the
Yeah, so
definition. of science.
we observe things falling. Thank you. Next. We call it gravity. Next.
Yeah, but we might call it gravity, but gravity is a defined term that you guys don't seem to know the meaning of. So we haven't got an explanation for the acceleration.
But you do acknowledge you are acknowledging.
Finished talking. We don't have an explanation for the acceleration that you guys describe as causing the gradients, but we can. We can define it, describe it, demonstrate it, and it's true. It's real world.
Yeah, and the gradient is a result of acceleration.
You acknowledge though that there is an acceleration, that objects are behaving as if they're accelerating, right? As if the ground is accelerating, right?
They are accelerating, and we know the cause of that acceleration, and it's not the force of gravity that you guys insist it is. It's not.
Oh, what is it?
Illuminate us.
No, it's not what we insist it is, Anthony. It's what science insists it is. That's the difference. We're just people on YouTube. We're just people on Discord. Science has defined it as the downward acceleration due to gravity.
It is.
Relative density disequilibrium.
I mean, these people think that just because some schmuck on YouTube can't define something, then that means that all of science is wrong.
Go ahead and explain it to us. Tell us, even though you said you weren't going to explain it before.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm not explaining it to you people because you don't accept anything that we say. But what I can
Because
say
you're
is
morons on the internet who don't know what you're talking about. Don't forget that, Anthony. You're an idiot on the internet. Nobody.
See, this is internet cancer defined. Anthony Riley thinks it's something since he has internet cancer. What he's thought is absolutely 100% true, and no one can argue with him about it because then they'd be wrong.
You should accept anything you say
because
you're
you
a
guys,
fool.
your explanation is fallacious. It's fundamentally flawed because gravity is not a force. It cannot cause an acceleration, and it doesn't explain the gradient.
Anthony,
Just a second.
It most certainly does explain the gradient, Anthony, and you're fundamentally flawed thinking that gravity is not a force.
1 second. He said gravity cannot cause an acceleration. However, Einstein defined it to actually be able to cause an acceleration. So you just denied Einstein. Isn't that wonderful, Anthony?
Well, Einstein's just dumb.
So again,
Right?
Anthony, what is your term for the acceleration we experience? And we'll go with that.
If I may just say one thing, please. Einstein
Jesus Christ.
was a spunk stain. Okay, Einstein was a spunk stain. Don't bring him up. He has
Brilliant.
no value.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jen. Fuck off.
Yeah, there you go. Jen thinks Einstein was dumb. I mean, Jen, I hate to say it, but Jen really tests my ability to not be racist.
So Anthony,
It really
what's
does.
your term? We'll use that with that. What do you want to call it? The acceleration.
We can't call it gravity, can we? Because we know what the right term of gravity is, and we know that it can't cause an acceleration. Therefore,
I mean, what do you mean, we, white man?
the gradient cannot be caused by gravity. It's not a force to
Well,
cause
hold
an
on, you did it again because Einstein says gravitation can cause an acceleration. So you're disagreeing. You are disagreeing with modern science in this case.
Okay, show me where Einstein says that, please.
Right. The four-dimensional
said it in the paper. Sorry.
Mathematics that he put forward, the masses in a monotonic time are going to accelerate to one another. That's a consequence of exactly how Einstein defined it.
Show me where he says that, please.
It's in the definition. That's the mathematics
no,
he defined.
No, it isn't. It's in the definition for
Anybody
what?
got it written in crayons?
It's in the definition for what? In the definition for what?
He doesn't mean that.
While he finds that, Anthony, what is your definition for the acceleration we experience? What do you want to call it?
We're not making any claims. We're challenging the claims of the ball earthers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it when they say we aren't making any claims. You can't hold us to that.
We can't possibly face challenge to any of the bullshit that we spew out every day, so we're not making any claims.
No, there's no point in explaining something in a religious server like this. It's like going into a Muslim guy server and explaining how Christianity works. They're never going to accept it.
We're never ever going to accept made up bullshit, Anthony. You're right.
Why are you here if you don't want to have communication? If you don't want to have an exchange of ideas? We're willing to give you our side. You're like, no.
He's here to get sound bites so he can, I guess, mock us. He's there to get sound bites, there to get a video so he can make the video like we're watching right now. That's his only purpose, because he doesn't understand science and he doesn't think we do either.
Have our side. We're only going to refute you.
I'd like to know what your idea is for the definition for the word gravity. I've asked it about 10 times.
Yeah, we'll play the flat Earth game. We'll bring things to you.
Right, and we've given you the definition 1,000 times, Anthony. Why are you not capable of understanding?
Because you're entitled to have other adults bring stuff to you, and then you can tell us creative ways that you disbelieve it. Shall we play that game?
Reversing the burden of proof, Jeremy. We don't have to do that in science because
you're not reversing the burden of proof.
Here you are.
The burden of proof rests on the person making the positive claim against the consensus of science, Anthony. This isn't a court of law. This is not a court of law. This is science. There's different rules.
I don't have anything to prove.
You have to prove.
Go ahead. If you want to talk, go ahead and yell pause, and I'll try and hear it.
Proven to be spherical. The Earth is proven to be spherical. Gravity is proven to be a thing, as we understand it. All of these things are established facts, Anthony. So I haven't got a burden to prove anything. If you want to believe nonsense, you can. But if you honestly believe that humanity is being lied to on this massive scale and has been for hundreds of years at least, then you have a moral responsibility to try and advance the idea. And if you're going to advance the idea, you need to do a lot better than we're not making any claims. You're just playing a game on the internet. You're a moron.
Are you done?
Pretty much.
I'm pointing out to your audience that you're using the term gravity and you don't have a definition for it.
We don't need one. You're pretending.
You do, because if your definition
that we require one, and we don't. We've given you a definition in the context that we're using it. It's an acceleration. It's as simple as that. We don't have to know the cause or do any more than that. We can measure that acceleration.
I mean, if he didn't know what wind was, if he didn't know what wind was at all, right? But he started feeling cold and he started getting blown over. How would he define that? Would he need to define it to prove that he's getting blown over by the wind?
No.
Of course not. He's an idiot.
It's as simple as
so what? And we can calculate the acceleration, but does that mean that we can calculate or measuring the acceleration identifies the cause? No.
Well, I don't think anyone said that, but you just said we can measure
a different thing, a different way.
We did say that,
but we cannot identify the cause. We cannot identify the cause. We cannot identify the cause by quoting half a sentence of someone and saying, that establishes the cause. It doesn't.
That hasn't happened, though, has it, Jeremy?
What?
It hasn't happened, quoting half a sentence to define gravity, because you haven't even got half the sentence defined.
No, that's what you do.
Yeah, man, no sense of self-awareness at all.
You use half a sentence.
I'm only asking for the definition of the explanation of gravity.
That's how you get to your Why are you talking? That's how you get to your definition of relative density disequilibrium. Because a man said half a sentence and you did an 8-year-old science experiment. Because you think Newton, and I quote, Newton and Einstein missed the egg experiment. You revealed something that they missed by dropping an egg in some salty water. You fucking delusional moron.
Respectfully, Jeremy, I'm not the one.
I mean, that's just like Dell trying to prove that the Earth moves up to meet things when it's nothing more than a thought experiment. It's not real, has no basis in real life.
One claiming the word gravity and then is unable to define it, and when we try and define it, we get absolutely nowhere.
We have defined it. We have defined it. It's an acceleration. There you go. It's an acceleration. That's it.
No, that's not a definition. That is not the definition for gravity. Gravity cannot cause an acceleration. It is not the explanation for the gradient.
What's the definition of gravity? Definition of gravity. The force that attracts a body toward the center of the Earth or toward any other physical body having mass. Extreme or alarming importance or seriousness. So, you're wrong. You're wrong, Anthony. Absolutely wrong.
Oh, are we back to guess the definition that's in Anthony's head game? Are we doing that game?
Definition of science. It is a defined term. We know what.
Anthony, there's none of these things are written in stone anywhere. There isn't
Yes, they are, Jeremy.
No, they're not. There isn't one single definition, word for word, that you could just go to and say it's that. That's not how it works.
Yes, it is. In the same way that weight is defined as mass times the acceleration due to gravity, gravity is also a defined term, Jeremy, and you guys struggle with it. In fact, you fail at it miserably. So you cannot explain the cause of the acceleration in the gradient because you don't even know the definition of the term.
All we need to do is measure the acceleration.
All right, okay, so measure it, and then I calculate it. And know that it always occurs. We haven't got the cause identified.
There it is. Force attracting the force that attracts a body toward the center of the Earth or toward any other physical body having mass. There you go, buddy.
You can live your entire life never knowing the cause of gravity, but you can still measure it every day, and it will do the exact same thing every day, and it will be consistent and measurable and predictable. And that's really all you need to be useful and to form hypotheses and then use that data to create things like, I don't know, rockets that can negate the pull of gravity and go into orbit.
So when you measure something and you don't know what it is that you're measuring because you're unable to define it in this instance, how
doesn't matter. Just means you're unable to define it.
Useful is that to you?
It's very useful because we have a measurement.
So I can equally say you don't understand.
We do know what we're measuring. We're measuring the acceleration. We do know.
We're measuring the acceleration, but what causes it? Because that's the interest of science.
Doesn't matter what causes it. Doesn't matter what causes it. We know the effects. We can measure the effects.
Right, but that's the thing we don't know, but it doesn't matter.
But do you know what it is? It's a defined term, Jeremy. You guys don't seem to know it yet.
Well, you can call it gravity, but then you're saying, well, you don't know what gravity is, and that's fine. We don't need to.
I'm asking you to explain
all we need to know about
acceleration in the gradient.
This argument stems from needing to know how atmospheric gases behave.
No. This argument stems from your explanation for the gradient.
Can I finish, Anthony? Can I finish? The atmospheric.
Always finish, Jeremy.
Well, I'm clearly.
Yeah, Anthony doesn't like answers, so he just tries to interrupt the person giving him answers. That's why he won't learn. That's why he's incapable of learning. Because he will not listen to anybody's answers. He already knows exactly what's in his head, and that old internet cancer won't let him accept any other explanations.
I'm not. I got one sentence out, and you were talking all over me. That's where this came from. That's where this argument stemmed from. We need to determine how atmospheric gases behave. To do that, we need to know that there's an acceleration that affects them, and we know that. We don't need to know.
Man, Bev said all day yesterday, "Oh, you're coming on your Discord. We're gonna raid you. Where is he? Where's Bev? He isn't here, is he?
Oh, why there is? We just need to know. We just need to know. No, we don't. We need to know that it's there. We need to know that it's there and it's consistent in the way that it is.
Jeremy, we know that you can't have gas pressure without collisions with surfaces. They need to bounce off something. We've got the Earth, the surface of the Earth, but then if all other directions are the vacuum of space, what stops them from continuing in their trajectory in line with Newton's first law of motion, which states an object in motion will remain in motion?
What? You need walls of a container for pressure? No, you don't. You do not.
Unless acted upon by a force.
Wait.
Relative density.
Relative density works too, yes.
What causes the molecules to change direction?
Relative density.
Relative density.
Yeah, they're going back to their equilibrium down at the surface of the Earth. Duh.
So relative density is now force.
No, we're not talking about relative. We're talking about in your model.
Oh, there's Chemo. Haven't heard him in a while.
What is it that turns the molecules back to Earth?
We're fine with this argument.
It pulls them back to the surface.
we acknowledge your answer is relative density, but we're talking about the current rhetoric, your model. You're not allowed to change your model, guys. You've got to push your model. Not my model, not my belief, not what you're saying is my belief, your model. So in your model, what turns the molecules back?
And he agrees with relative density, but relative density is a product of gravity.
I love the way you keep telling us what our answers to all the questions are going to be. This is brilliant.
Yeah, so what do you want, Anthony? We've given you the gravity is it answer, and you've said no. We've given you the relative density is it
No,
answer.
I didn't say no. I asked you to define it. I just asked you to define it.
No, you
define what?
Oops.
Gravity. I've asked about 15 times.
Yes, we know what gravity is. It has a definition. It has a definition, in fact, because
No, you didn't say no. You said nuh-uh. You said yeah, but
it's something that we have defined and experienced and decided to give a name to it.
Great.
It's just, a way for you to, it's just a way for you to take this to a stupid, illogical, infinite regress. Because that is where it would go.
Regress. Ask for a definition.
Because when you aren't asking for the definition, you're asking for the cause, aren't you? The definition has to include the cause. So if I say the cause of gravity is the great universal banana, you'll just say, okay, so what's the cause of the great universal banana? And I'll say the great universal banana tree, and you'll say, what's the cause of the great universal banana tree? You can't do anything. Can I finish, Anthony? You'll say, can I finish, Anthony? Can I finish, Anthony? All right, I will mute you so I can finish.
No. I object to you misrepresenting me. I didn't say that. If you say gravity, I will then say, can you define that, please? I won't say, well, what causes the whatever it was that you said.
We did define it, and then you said, but you don't know the cause.
No, nobody's defined it. I'm still.
It's an acceleration.
No, an acceleration needs a force to cause it. We've been through this. You need
so you need to know the cause, don't you? So you want the cause.
You can't have an acceleration without
and you won't accept our definition unless we give you a cause. And if we give you a cause, you'll want to know the cause of the cause. And if we give you the cause of the cause, you'll want to know the cause of the cause of the cause.
No, Jeremy.
Until we know the cause of the cause of the cause of the forever and ever and ever, we can't know anything about how an object falls. That's retarded, idiotic bullshit. As per usual, the standard route to ignorance propagated by Oakley and his temple.
Incorrect, Jeremy. Incorrect. It is not an infinite regress because when you say it's an acceleration, we apply Newton's first law, which requires that you need a force for an acceleration, and I'm asking you to identify the force.
Right. Yes. Yeah. See, I could push something. That's a force. Doesn't necessarily have to do with gravity, buddy.
Not an infinite regress as you wrongfully claim. I'm asking you to identify the force. It's very simple.
And we identified the force, and then you said you want a definition of the force, and then we gave you a definition of the force, and you said, no, I need the cause of the force.
No, that's not what I said. You're lying again.
Yes, he did say that, Anthony.
Exactly what he said.
Yes, he did.
Jeremy, I said gravity is not a force. It cannot accelerate matter.
Right, it's gravity then. That's the reason.
And gravity is not a force. It cannot and does not accelerate matter, Jeremy.
Well, that's just your idiotic assertion.
Yeah, that's your idiotic opinion. Absolutely.
Have you got any evidence? Do you have 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 any evidence to support that claim beyond half a sentence that a man once said on YouTube?
Yes, I could give you 12 current physicists that tell us clearly that gravity is not a force. Where would you like me to start? Pick a number between one.
No, that isn't the claim that you.
Let me guess. All those scientists, all those physicists are going to be theoretical physicists and astrophysicists. They won't be physicists in the basic physics here on Earth. It'll be people like Michio Kaku, people like that.
Just made.
Yeah, but even if you ask them what weight
can't make objects move. So go ahead and give us the citations for that.
I can, Jeremy. I can.
Go ahead. Let's hear them.
Okay, bear with me 2 seconds.
And I got to follow.
But Anthony, I don't want you to read something else that you interpret to mean that gravity can't make objects move. I want to see the words "gravity can't make objects move."
So
I think you said something even more. I think you said even more than that. Can anyone remember exactly the phrase he used when he said that?
So, would you accept Brian Cox speaking to an audience in the University of Manchester, where he says,
"Right, Brian Cox is a theoretical physicist. He doesn't deal with Newtonian physics, Anthony.
Actually, gravity is not a force. Would you accept that?
No, no, not in any way. That doesn't even begin to support your claim. That requires your faulty interpretation to make it work.
So you're citing can't remember his name. Brian, I can't remember his full name. So you're going to cite him, a person who deals with space, but you're not going to acknowledge that space exists. Very good.
What are all these physicists
the
calling
question I
gravity
asked.
if they don't call it a
The question I asked is, would you accept Brian Cox saying the word?
I did.
Brian Cox.
Answer
Or
the
do you want
question.
to
The answer is
use the word?
no.
It's a right.
The answer is no, Anthony. I will not accept that because that requires your faulty interpretation to make it have the meaning that you want it to have. I want to see something that actually says that meaning, not you interpreting it to mean that because somebody said gravity's not a force and somebody else said that you need a force to make things move, and somebody else said some other half a sentence somewhere, and you added them all together and made some bullshit.
Okay, so I can read from.
See, Brian Anthony has stated unequivocally, have trouble with that word, that he cherry picks. He loves to cherry pick. He cannot argue a point without cherry picking. He said this. That's from him. That's not me extrapolating what he said into that statement. He has actually said this out of his own lying, stinking mouth.
Einstein's theory of general relativity. Would you accept that?
Go ahead. Let's hear it. Does it say the words gravity can't make things move or whatever it was you said?
It says the equivalent words to that.
No.
Exactly.
Go on then. Let's
the equivalent words.
hear it.
Okay, bear with me. I'll dig it out. One sec.
And I'll try and find out what exactly it was you said, because I'm not.
Yeah, you do that.
Quite right.
Gravity cannot and does not cause acceleration.
I mean, Brian Cox is the best one. He does say objects don't move. You remember, I've taught you that the object is floating in free space, and the Earth is moving towards that object. So gravity doesn't make objects move. Right.
I want to know why I can't use relative density.
And I've told you
it's borrowing from your model that you
I've made many lessons and sessions on: does the object move towards the Earth, or is the Earth moving towards the object?
Wait, Jeremy, I have a citation for you. It is chapter.
And there's that thought experiment that Dell misunderstood. That it's a thought experiment, and Dell thinks it's real life.
I don't know what number that is. It's in the Roman numerals X1, X, whatever number that is. It is entitled The Gravitational Field, and this is Einstein's own words. Quote, if we pick up a stone and then let it go, why does it fall to the ground? The usual answer to this question is, quote, because it is attracted by the Earth. Modern physics formulates the answer rather differently, not similar, not refined, differently, for the following reason.
Yes, modern physics, theoretical physics, Einsteinian physics. That's modern physics.
Reason. As a result of the more careful study of electromagnetic phenomena, we have come to regard action at a distance as, quote, a process impossible without the intervention of some intermediary medium. Medium being the key word. If, for instance, a magnet attracts a piece of iron, we cannot be content to regard this as meaning that the magnet acts directly on the iron. You guys would call that mass-attractive mass. We cannot be content to regard this as meaning that the magnet acts directly on the iron through intermediary empty space. But we are constrained to imagine, after the manner of Faraday, that the magnet always calls into something being physically real in the space around it. That something being that we call a magnetic field. So he's gone from medium to a field, now to a magnetic field, and he goes on to say, in its turn, this magnetic field operates on the piece of iron, so that the latter strives to move towards.
What was that? That must have been on there.
Towards the magnet.
Must have been in them.
We shall not discuss here the justification for this incidental conception, which is somewhat arbitrary one. We shall only mention that with its aid, electromagnetic phenomena can be theoretically represented much more satisfactorily than without it. And this applies particularly to the transmission of electromagnetic waves. The effect of gravitation also are regarded in this an analogous manner. So let's just consider what he's just said. Medium, then he's gone to field, and now he's at magnetic field, and now he's talking about gravitation, and he's comparing them to a magnetic field. Now,
but at no point has he said the words.
No, he's comparing them to how we analyze a magnetic field, not comparing gravity to a magnetic field.
Gravity cannot cause an acceleration, has it?
See, Anthony has a has a problem with reading comprehension.
Hang on. We haven't got there yet. It's the next sentence. Forgive me. Let me continue.
Looking forward to it.
The action of the Earth on the stone takes place indirectly, Jeremy. That's not mass attracting mass. That is something else going on.
We aren't arguing for mass attracting mass. Nobody's even mentioned that.
Oh, I heard somebody citing Cavendish experiment before, so you definitely were
All we're concerned about is this
Read the
same
fucking
word,
sentence.
gravity cannot cause an acceleration.
The Earth produces its surroundings, in its surroundings, a gravitational field which acts on the stone and produces its motion of fall.
So,
see, every citation that every flat earther posts is directly contradicts them.
Listen, pay attention, because this is it now, Jeremy. Prick your ears up and shut your mouth. Listen to what's being said.
Okay.
The Earth produces in its surroundings a gravitational field, not a mass attracting mass, a gravitational field. I would call that a medium, but you guys...
Yeah, gravitational field, which is created by mass attracting mass, which is a product of unbalanced masses, or what, unbalanced masses in the universe affecting time, space-time. Yeah.
Have to accept current science, not force mass, not a force of mass
Is there more
attracting
to
mass.
this sentence? I'm waiting.
Yeah, the Earth
Well, let's
produces
hear
in its surroundings a gravitational field which acts on the stone and produces its motion of fall. You would call that an acceleration. So it is.
Yeah, we would, because that gravitational field acts on the stone, produces its motion as a fall, and we can measure that fall, the rate of fall, at 9.8 meters per second squared, Anthony.
The gravitational field, or the medium that is causing the acceleration. That reminds me, let's talk about the egg for a minute, because it was the medium that caused the egg to accelerate.
Oh, hold on, let's
Einstein
stop
called
there.
it-
Hold on, before we get to the egg. So what you're saying?
Right. It was the relative density of the liquid that you changed to create that motion. And that motion was only produced by gravity. If you would have done that experiment in a vomit comet or on the ISS, it wouldn't have fallen, Anthony, because there's no gravitational field to pull it down through that lighter medium or that heavier medium.
Is that says,
I mean, that's why he will not answer the question of, does the density of an object change in free fall? Because in free fall, density columns don't correct themselves. They stay mixed.
gravity causes an acceleration.
And he knows this, and that's why he won't answer the question, because he knows the answer to the question that would come from his mouth would completely debunk his entire theory. That's the game they play.
No, I never said that once. I don't know where you got that fantasy from. I'll repeat my word.
Those were the words that you just said. The
No, they were not.
gravitational field of the
For
Earth
those of us that
causes
suffer
the
with hard of
acceleration.
hearing, for those of us that are suffering with the hard of hearing, Jeremy, in this instance,
Say the end
I'll
of
say it
the
again.
sentence again. Go ahead.
I'll say it again. Pin your ears back and close your mouth. It says, the action of the earth on the stone takes place indirectly, Jeremy. Let me paraphrase that so you can understand the context.
Right, indirectly. The earth doesn't reach up and grab something physically. You don't see the earth grabbing something like I'm grabbing, this thing, like I'm grabbing my hand. No, it just pulls it like a magnet. You fucking idiot. There's no direct, there's no action directly between a magnet and a piece of metal. But they pull together. That's what they mean by indirectly. Not a physical connection.
The action of the
That's why Newton would not put his name on any formula, because he thought there needed to be a direct connection, not an indirect connection.
The acceleration of the egg takes place indirectly. Are you seeing the analogy here? The
Not
earth
really,
produces...
but all I'm concerned about, don't care about your fucking stupid egg, dude. Just concerned about
You've got to understand, Jeremy, that Einstein is conflating the gravitational field with the medium in the same way that my egg is caused to accelerate by the
Anthony,
medium.
the whole point of this is the parameter I set out at the start was I want to see the words gravity cannot cause matter to accelerate. What I did not want, and I specifically said this, was something that you were incorrectly interpreting to mean that.
No, Jeremy, it's just your opinion.
Jem must be psychic, because he knew exactly what Anthony was going to do before he did it.
incorrectly interpreting. It doesn't say what we want it to say, Jeremy.
Can I read
It says
further
very
in that
clearly.
document?
Jeremy, it says very clearly that
further
the
in that
Earth.
document. Anthony's not reading.
Go ahead.
Body which are moving under the sole influence of a gravitational field receive an acceleration which does not in the least depend on either the material or the physical state of the body. That says gravity causes acceleration.
There you
No,
go.
it doesn't say that at all.
Yeah, it does. Which does not depend in the least. Which does not in the least depend either on the material or the physical state of the body. Yes, absolutely. That's what it says. Bodies which are moving under the sole influence of a gravitational field receive an acceleration. Oh, but that's not what that says. That's not at all what that says.
Nowhere did I say that, and I'm reading from the current science.
Anthony, that's in the next paragraph that you're not reading.
Yeah, I guess they put the next paragraph up for him. See that he didn't like putting up stuff that proves him wrong. He only wants to cherry pick stuff that he think proves him right.
I haven't got there yet, and I haven't said that yet.
Well, if you've read it,
that doesn't make it not true, Anthony.
I haven't got there yet. And I'm never going to get there yet.
Things like
we haven't
isn't
got there
just
yet,
the things you've read out that are true. That isn't how it works, Mark.
Jeremy, we haven't got to listen. If you guys want to suffer with premature ejaculation, which is
premature ejaculation? No, they're just reading ahead, Anthony. They're reading the part that you won't present because you're a cherry-picking piece of shit. That's what they did, and you don't like it.
Literally what you're doing now, you're
just like your yellow paragraph. See, you wouldn't present that. You said you would. You said you'd get to it, but you never did. You rage quit before you could get to it on purpose.
bursting out words without anything to support them because we're not even there yet. You may do so, but you asked me for a citation that says that gravity does not cause acceleration, and I'm giving it to you, but you refuse to listen.
I mean, this guy speaks English. How come he can't speak English? I mean, English is his first language. Why can't he speak English right? There. It's there. It's not phonetically pronounced there. Yeah, but
The next paragraph fucking denies what you just said.
Don't worry, we'll come to it. But right now, I'm addressing the point that Jeremy claims that it doesn't say. The Earth produces in its surroundings a gravitational field. I'd call that a medium, but you can call it a gravitational field. It doesn't matter what we call it, does it? Which acts on the egg, the stone, and produces its motion of fall. We'll call it an acceleration. So it is the gravitational field, which you guys say doesn't matter what we call it, but that is what causes the acceleration. But it is not the force of attraction of gravitation, or the mass attracting mass, or the Cavendish nonsense. It is the field, which we would call a medium.
Right. The Cavendish doesn't cause things to fall. Cavendish confirms that mass attracts mass.
But, Jeremy, let's be really clear. It does not say that gravity causes acceleration. It says...
Actually, RT96, this is a year old. So, and I haven't heard chemo around for months.
The field
really? How about the equation later in that document that I just screen captured and posted? Acceleration equals, and then times intensity of the gravitational field.
Yeah, so so the acceleration of the egg is equal.
Yeah, so
to the intensity of the medium around it.
Yeah, so you just cherry picked what you wanted out of what he said and what that paragraph said, and you're going with that. You're straw manning him and going with it and arguing the straw man.
No, intensity of the gravitational field.
Yeah, medium. Einstein is.
No,
this is the point.
Medium has never been associated with a
We're not
gravitational
arguing
field.
whether or not the medium or gravitational field causes acceleration.
Anthony,
we're pointing out to Jeremy because Jeremy demanded to know. We're pointing out to Jeremy because.
Dude, we have the same gravitational. If I measure the acceleration of this downward, right, this remote control downward, out here it's going to be 9.8 meters per second squared. If I suck all the air out of the room, change the medium, 9.8 meters per second squared, buddy. The medium is irrelevant. You calling the gravitational field a medium is dishonest.
Jeremy demanded
your leg off in this case.
We're pointing out to Jeremy because Jeremy demanded to know where it says that gravity doesn't cause acceleration. Now, I've cited
the document it actually said the exact thing to confirm what Jem was saying.
No, it doesn't. I've read from it, and it says it's not a mass. A force.
Now, you've cherry-picked from it, and you've misinterpreted it dishonestly.
It says it's the medium.
You didn't read the sentence that I cited in the next paragraph, and you would have never have gotten there because you cherry-pick your references.
Let's go to your reference that you want to cite. Where are you reading from?
I'm using yours.
No, you're saying it says it's not gravity.
Let's go to your reference. No, he's using yours, Anthony. He's using your reference against you.
It's the medium. You said the medium. He's calling gravity the medium.
Correct.
Right. Right. So if it's not, if it's the medium, and the medium is what he's called gravity, then it's gravity, isn't it?
So in that answer, given what you've just said, Jeremy, what is it that causes the egg to accelerate then? It must be the medium, correct?
Well, not this
Gravity. Gravity causes the egg to accelerate, dummy. He just doesn't get it.
This passage makes no comment about your stupid egg, dude. Your egg is just an 8-year-old science experiment that demonstrates the principle of buoyancy. Don't be
Jeremy,
a moron.
no, Jeremy.
Yes.
Yeah. It demonstrates buoyancy.
Yes. It's an 8-year-old science experiment, dude.
No, Jeremy. No. It's because Einstein
you haven't overturned physics with it. Really?
Yes, I have, Jeremy.
No, you
haven't.
Yes,
I have, Jeremy.
Yes, I have.
Yes, I have, Jeremy. Yes, I have. I really have. You're gonna believe me. I have.
Yes, I have. Because do you know what, Jeremy? Einstein started off by describing the medium. He then conflated it to a field, then to a gravitational field through a magnetic field. That's how he got to gravitational field. He started off with the word medium, which is exactly what caused the acceleration with the egg. Now, you might deny that because you're a science denier, but...
I love what they call people who understand science deniers because they don't understand it.
It doesn't change the fact that when you asked me to demonstrate where gravity doesn't cause an acceleration, and I did exactly that, it doesn't change the fact that you were incorrect.
You haven't done that.
I have done that.
Because
Gravity.
I asked you, I specifically said, Anthony, I want to see those words, not you interpreting some words to have that meaning. I specifically said that. All you've done is interpret some words that don't mean that to have that meaning. So So you haven't fulfilled what I required at all. And tell me more though. Tell me more about how you've overturned physics. So I mean, where do you think this is going to lead? Do you expect a Nobel Prize at any point, or I mean, where do you think this will go, Anthony? This overturning.
No, see, he's doing this in order to go to the school board in England and say, we think that it's being prejudicial and bigoted to not teach flat Earth in schools. See, that's where he's going with it. This is all. He has an ulterior motive to try and corrupt children's minds with flat Earth. He's a groomer. He poses as a kid on TikTok and other social media outlets, trying to convince kids that everything they've learned is wrong. That's called gaslighting. That's called emotional abuse.
I'll read it again because you're denying it, Jeremy.
No, I don't care. I don't care.
No,
look, Anthony, I'm never going to. No.
And he doesn't deny it. When you when you confront him on it, he's proud of it. He's proud that he's done this. He's disgusting.
I'm never going to agree with you. I've given you my opinion. I've given you. No, I've given you. Look, it's not current science. It's your stupid interpretation. Just you misinterpreting things so that they say what you want them to say. I've given you my opinion of it. Reading it again will not change my opinion. I understood every word. I remember every word. Saying it again will not help. Claiming it's current science won't help either. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's been.
I don't care what's written on the walls of Nathan Oakley's temple. I don't believe any of it. You're a moron.
Jeremy, you're denying it's the medium.
But tell me about you overturning physics and how you've done that. And where you hope what you think that will do for you in the future.
You're denying it's the medium, Jeremy. It's not a force of attraction called gravity.
I didn't deny it's the medium. I agree it's the medium, and the medium's called gravity, according to you.
It's called a medium. It's called salt water. And if you've got an egg in that medium, it's the medium that causes the egg.
About your stupid egg.
Right. Yes, it's the medium that you've changed and create and changed the buoyancy of the medium to allow gravity to act in a different way.
Yes, but Jeremy, you asked me to give an explanation or a citation for where it says that gravity is not a force that causes acceleration, and I have, and you just don't like it.
No, I didn't. That isn't what I asked for. I asked you. No.
Yes, you asked them to explain where it's a force, and your own citation did that for them.
I asked you for a citation that says gravity cannot cause matter to accelerate. That's what I asked for. And that is not what you provided. You provided the opposite.
That causes the acceleration. It's the medium, Jeremy.
And according to you, and only you, the medium is called gravity. So if the cause is the medium, and the medium is called gravity, then the cause is gravity.
Yes. According to your citation, gravity is the medium.
Jeremy, again, you're misrepresenting me. Not according to me and only me, according to Albert Einstein.
No, you're misrepresenting what Albert Einstein said, and you're misrepresenting what your own citation says. What a liar! What a pathological liar!
Yeah, all right. If that's how you want, I think you've interpreted that wrongly. I need to spend more time on it. But it's Albert Einstein. It's the same thing. You say it's the medium. The name of the medium is gravity. Therefore, the cause is gravity. There you go.
No, the name of the medium is called a medium. What you're doing now is confusing the verb with the adjective.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You are.
They're both nouns, you idiot.
No, verb is a naming word. A verb is a doing word, and the adjective is a describing word.
Right, gravity is a noun.
The medium is a noun, isn't it?
Yeah. So what is causing the acceleration?
Gravity is a noun, isn't it?
Gravity is a noun, yes, but what is the verb?
Yeah. So there's no verbs there, buddy. He said yes. He said yes to both, which proves him wrong.
He said medium. He said medium is the name of the medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure that's what I heard.
Yeah.
The name of the medium is medium.
Yep. His head's all screwed up, man.
They're both nouns.
No. What is the verb?
Yes. You've just agreed. Yes. You've
What
just
is the verb?
literally agreed. Yes.
What is the verb? Identify the
What
verb.
verb? What are you talking about? What verb? What are you on about?
Because
if you want a verb, you think of a verb. I don't know any verbs.
No,
Running.
I know.
Skate. That's a verb.
That's a verb.
No.
So
run is a verb.
Run. Well, skate. You can skate. That'd be a verb. Run
Yes.
is a verb. Yeah.
The
I
same
thought
way
you
that
said gate.
Oh no.
force equals mass times.
Can you gate someone in?
I guess it can be good. Yeah, you are correct. I was just thinking of that too.
I mean, with the modern looseness of the English language, pretty much any noun can be a verb. Like blogging.
Yeah. But here's one. I'm going to be off topic. What's the past tense of snowblow?
Snow globe?
Snowblow. Like I'm snowblowing. What's the past tense? Remember when he used to have to shovel snow? Well, now we snowblow.
I don't know. I don't know what the past tense of that would be. Snow blue?
Yeah, see?
Snow blue.
It doesn't sound right.
No. Another thing is the singular and plural for the word peas is peas.
Right.
Comes from the Old English. When they say peas porridge hot, they're not saying it's a multiple of peas. They're saying peas as in singular. It originally was a P-E-A-S was originally a singular word. There's a few words that have plural, that appear to be plural, but they're
Singular.
actually singular. What's it called?
Yeah, I was just agreeing. It's plural, that's a singular.
Yeah.
Something like that.
There's also a really cool thing, a self-affirming formula, something like that. It's a formula. It's a recursive formula to where you put a variable in, or you put multiple variables in, and you get a result. If you take and you put this certain number into this formula, you will get a dot matrix printout of the formula, a graphic representation of the formula. I can't. I'll have Martin's self-affirming formula or something like. I'll look it up.
Acceleration, you need a force to have an accelerating mass. In the instance of the stone, we need to have the thing that's causing the stone to accelerate, and we know it's the medium. So the noun is the medium, but what's the verb that's making it accelerate, Jeremy?
There isn't. What are you
Gravity.
talking about?
The medium.
Verbs don't make things accelerate, Anthony. That's not how it works.
No, it's the medium, Jeremy. So what you're doing is you're misidentifying the noun, the verb, and the
No.
adjective.
No, I'm not.
Yes.
No,
Yes, you are.
Anthony,
Yes, you
there
are,
are two
Jeremy.
words and both of them are nouns.
No, they're not. One of them's a verb.
No,
One of
which,
the
okay,
word-
which
the
is the
word
word that's a
medium-
verb? Go and tell me the
Jeremy-
verb. What's the word that's a verb?
Accelerating. Accelerating is a verb.
No,
But that wasn't
that's
one of the words
adjective.
in question.
The verb is the doing thing, isn't it? The word is the action, the thing that's the
But
doing word.
we don't have a doing word. We have two words. We have gravity and medium. Those are the
Yeah.
two words we have. Neither of
Yeah.
those are a verb. They're both nouns.
Incorrect. This is where you misunderstand.
Okay,
The
so
noun
are you
is the
saying
name.
that gravity is a verb?
Jeremy.
Are you saying gravity is a verb?
You're misunderstanding.
Well, that affirming or confirming in the word. I'm trying to find it. Shoot, I can't find it.
What type of word is gravity?
You're not answering.
What type
You
of
won't let me
word is
answer.
gravity, Anthony?
You won't let me answer.
No, what I
Shut
will. What? Just say what type of word gravity is.
Gravity is just a noun.
Right. What type of word is medium?
It is a noun and a verb in this context.
Medium is a verb.
In this context, yes. I'll repeat my words again for you, Jeremy.
So
The
medium
earth
is so
medium is a verb.
something is mediuming. Is it? I mean, something is. I mean, how does that work as a verb?
Medium is a noun or an adjective.
What would you say is mediuming in this then?
You keep shouting over me, so I can't get to explain it to you. Jeremy, I'll
Medium
repeat
is
my
a
words
noun
again.
or an adjective.
Jeremy,
It's not a
I'll
verb.
repeat the words again. The Earth produces in its surroundings a gravitational field which acts on the stone. So if the gravitational field or the medium is acting on something, the verb would be the medium acting on something. It is doing something.
No. That's not how. That's not how.
Yes.
I'll tell you why you're wrong. Okay.
No, you don't know where I'm wrong. You don't understand what you're talking about. You're a science denier. So how can you correct me when you don't understand
because
current
all I
science?
need because all I need for this is to be able to speak the English language and know that a verb isn't 3 words, is it?
No, it's a doing word, isn't it?
So the verb is acting.
Correct. Now let's go back to the words, Jeremy. Let's apply that. The verb is acting.
So let's pretend the word that we use to describe an acceleration is acting. That's what you want to do now. That isn't the word. That isn't the word. That isn't the word. That isn't the word. That isn't the word that we use to describe an acceleration. The word that we use to describe an acceleration and the surrounding it is gravity. And gravity is a noun, as is media.
Listen to him trying to fundy mute Gem. See, he complained about fundy muting, but that's all he's done this entire hour-long so far stream. Is he's tried to fundy mute Gem because he does not like Gem's answers.
So if they are both nouns, one is just a name for the other, and so you have admitted that the cause is gravity. Thank you very much.
Have you finished?
Yes.
So when we have the word acting, you've admitted and accepted that that is the verb. You said that the verb is acting. Then we remember what the definition
is. That where Witsit gets it? His hard K's at the end of his G words? Acting. Notice Witsit does that too. Is he imitating Anthony Riley?
of a force is. And the definition of a force is an interaction on an object, a push or a pull. So that interaction is the acting in this context. Do you agree or disagree?
No, a force is a noun.
Yes, but that's irrelevant to the point.
No, it's fundamental. It's fundamental
No, it's not
because without that interaction, without that acting on the stone, there will be no acceleration. You cannot have an acceleration without a force. You cannot have the stone accelerating without something acting on it. In this instance, according to the current science, not your woo-woo science, it is the medium that's causing it. He calls it a gravitational field.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Yes, gravity. That's what we call it. Gravity.
No, you don't. You call it mass attracting mass. That is not how this is explaining it.
No, we call it gravity, which is a product of mass attracting mass, which is created by mass attracting mass. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You are lying again.
He doesn't
You
say
are lying again.
He doesn't say it's the medium. That's something you've added.
I'll quote his words again for Jeremy. He's not listening.
Go on,
The Earth produces in its surroundings a gravitational field. So it is that that's acting on the
Does he
stone.
say the word medium? Does he say the word medium?
He says, in this paragraph, he says the gravitational field.
Does he say the word medium?
Without the intervention of some intermediary medium, without it. So the medium is irrelevant.
He doesn't say mass attracting mass.
Does he say the word medium?
He says gravitational field, Jeremy.
Does he say the word medium?
Right, and that gravitational field proves you wrong, dipshit. Why are you going on about it?
He starts off with medium, then he goes to field, then he goes to electromagnetic
Okay,
field,
where
and then
does
he
he
ends
say
up with
medium?
gravitational field.
Wow.
So he's conflating between medium,
Where does he
field,
say
gravitational
medium?
field. Yes, it's the first paragraph. I've read it to you before. Would you like me to read it again?
Yeah, read it again.
If we pick up a stone and then let it go, why does it fall to the ground? The usual answer to this question is, quote, because it is attracted by the Earth. Pay attention, Jeremy. Modern physics formulates the answer rather differently for the following reason. As a result of the more careful study of the electromagnetic phenomena, we have come to regard action at a distance as quote, process impossible without the intervention of some intermediary medium, Jeremy.
Okay.
So he goes from medium, then he goes to magnetic
Oh, I read that wrong.
field, and then before you know it, he ends up at gravitational field.
But,
So
but he uses the word field, and you're saying, well, he actually means medium.
he's conflating between the words medium.
No, you are. You're conflating. You are.
Stop.
He
I
uses
haven't
one
answered
word, and you're giving him another word, and saying, oh, he actually meant this word. You're conflating.
No, you've not listened to what I was going to say. You've interrupted before I've answered.
You're complaining about interrupting.
He starts off with the word medium, then he goes to field,
Hilarious.
then he goes to electromagnetic field, and before you know it, we're at gravitational field.
Yeah.
So he's conflating between medium field, electromagnetic field, and gravitational field.
No, he's gone through a logical progression using analogies to explain a particular principle. The person conflating here is you, because he uses the word
You don't understand
field.
what conflating is, Jeremy. I don't know what
yes,
conflation is.
yes, I'm explaining it to you. I'm explaining your conflation to you right now. When I
my
finish,
conflation.
you will be able to determine if I understand what conflation means. He says
Can
the
I
word
have a
field.
question?
You're saying
There it is. This is the one. We'll wait till it
he says the word medium. He doesn't. He says the word field.
Can I ask a quick question?
Medium. I've read it to you several times. Again, would you like me to read the last sentence again?
How about you
No,
just
because-
post what you're talking
Yeah, here it is.
And some of you may have come across this before. It's an absolute classic, but I still think there's a lot to be said about the number 960.
Tupper's self-referential. Tupper's self-referential formula.
93934 This is where it gets quite interesting actually, because it goes 982389096. You'll notice actually this is one of the more boring parts of the number 760. Every time I mess this bit up, hang on, that
The most boring part of the number. This is the exciting part. Only a mathematician.
that bit shouldn't be there. I put that in by accident. Sorry. Where was I? 4719. And there it is. That's the number I'm going to
This guy's like my dad. My dad was a number file.
talk about
But my dad couldn't understand the speed of light. That was weird.
today. I still find this number absolutely fascinating. And the reason this number is so great is because it relates to a fantastic inequality, a formula, if you will, which I will put underneath here. So the formula we're going to look at is a half less than the floor function of the mod function of the floor function of the y coordinate on 17, floor function, times 2 to the power of negative 17 times the floor function of x, subtract the mod of...
So you've got an x factor and a y factor.
Of the floor function of y again. Oh, that's floor, sorry. And that is mod 17, so I close that mod there. And then this whole thing, once you got that, that open mod is 2, close that, and then close the floor function. Okay, so now we have ridiculous number and we have ridiculous equation. To show you how the two are linked, I thought I would show you the plot of this inequality, because what they're saying is if you have an xy axis and you put, for each point on that plane, you put in the x and y coordinates into this formula, it will tell you whether or not you should color in that point. So in fact, this tells you which part of an xy plot should have a dot and which shouldn't. And I've got a printout I have done of that formula. And so if you plot that formula, you get this plot here. So this is the plot of that formula. And in case you're wondering what is particularly astounding about this, the formula, when you plot it, is itself. It is its own form. The formula is its own plot. The plot is the formula. This is called Tupper's self-referential formula. And when you...
That's bananas. That is insane.
plot it, you get itself. And that, for me, is one of the freakiest, most bizarre parts of mathematics. A formula which is its own plot. Okay.
That's freaking great. And you can reverse engineer it with any image. You could take an image of your hand, plot it out, put the numbers down in an XY coordinate system, and take the numbers that would give you that result, and plug it in. It will be that image. That's bananas. That's amazing to me.
Because in the relevant part of the sentence, he uses the word field. He doesn't use the word medium. He uses the word field, and I think that's deliberate.
No, again, Jeremy, you don't understand what conflation.
Yes, it is deliberate. Yes, he replaces words that he doesn't like with definitions of his own, like science that proves flat Earth wrong. They call that pseudoscience.
He starts off saying, we have come to regard action at a distance as process impossible without the intervention of some intermediary medium, right? Then he goes to field, then he goes to electromagnetic field, and before the end of the paragraph, we end up with gravitational field. But my point is, I
gotta go back to
no, hang on. My point is that you asked me for a citation for where Einstein says that gravity doesn't cause acceleration, and here is it. He says it's the medium or the gravitational field, but not a force itself.
He says what you're saying is
no, that's not at all what it says.
A paragraph that you say, he says the field, which is called gravity, is the reason the thing moves, but this is a passage that says gravity isn't the cause of things moving. That's your retarded, ridiculous.
By the way, it's a
distortion of the truth.
Sorry, John.
Again, all I've done, Jeremy.
You're incapable of understanding the English language.
Where Einstein says that gravity doesn't cause acceleration, and I've given you where he says it's the medium. Now, whether you call it a medium or gravitational field is irrelevant.
He doesn't say it's the medium, though. He doesn't say it's the medium at any point. At no point does he say it's the medium.
Hey, Jim, let me ask a question before I got to go to work here.
Go ahead.
Riley, is he related to Amber Heard? I'm just curious. Kind of sounds like it. Reminds me of the where she didn't donate.
Just to answer your question specifically, you asked me for citation for where gravity doesn't cause acceleration. I then give you one that says it's the medium or the gravitational field. Yes, I have. And you just deny it.
A field called gravity.
No, a field called a field, medium, gravitational field, electromagnetic field. He conflates between the four.
In this case, he's talking about a field called gravity. You already agreed this earlier on.
A field called gravitational field, which he conflates with the medium.
Right. And which we generally,
so can we not accept when you ask me for citation? When you asked me for citation for where Einstein says
the opposite. I still say it says the opposite.
It's the medium that causes acceleration.
He doesn't say the medium. You've added that.
No, he does say the medium.
No, he says the field. He says the field. You added medium. You changed it to medium.
I didn't add medium. I read it. Right.
Okay, does he say? No, he does not say that in relation to gravity.
It doesn't say that, Riley. It says medium once on that page, and it says without the intervention of some intermediary medium. One time in the word medium on that page.
I started off with that and said that.
Oh, but it has the word medium in it, so I'm right.
It moves from medium to magnetic field, and then from magnetic field to gravitational field. I said conflate.
Not gravitational.
See, if you took the definition of a basketball, which says that it's a spherical object with a flat groove running the perimeter of it with other flat grooves, he'd say, it says it's got the word flat in it, so basketballs must be flat.
Medium, gravitational field. Field, not medium. Field.
So then
not medium,
go back to the sentence.
No, we don't. We can just go with that sentence. Field.
So as a result,
we don't need some other sentence that you really like from somewhere else. We just need that sentence.
No. Listen, pay attention, Jeremy. This debunks you.
It says it debunks you. It says the opposite of what you say.
You're a science denier, Jeremy. It clearly says.
You're a science denier. You're Nathan Oakley Arson, temple worshipping moron who did an 8-year-old science experiment and thinks he overturned all of physics.
It doesn't say an intermediary field or an intermediary gravitational field, does he? He says medium.
I would like to point out that in a paragraph later, it says bodies which are moving under the sole influence of a gravitational field receive an acceleration.
Yeah. So the gravitational field
is caused by gravity.
No. So it doesn't cause. No, not caused by gravity. We've just clearly been through how it. Listen, I'll read the words again for those of you that don't accept it.
Bodies which are moving under the sole influence of a gravitational field receive an acceleration.
As a result of the more careful study of the electromagnetic phenomena, we come to regard action at a distance as processing.
Riley.
This egg you're talking about, is it a medium-sized egg by any chance?
I got it. A medium-sized egg.
Is it a small one?
So stupid. This
gravity causes gravitational field.
Position in science, gentlemen, you're denying.
Nobody got his dad joke but me.
This is an absolutely meaningless hour of word salad.
Absolutely meaningless. This is the current position in science that clearly says gravity does not cause acceleration. It is the medium.
No, the current position on science proves you wrong, Anthony, about everything. The current position on science is that the Earth is spherical, has a gravitational field, and is flying through space. That's what the current science says, Anthony. You going to deny that?
Just because you people deny this science doesn't mean that you can dismiss it.
You're as thick as pig shit.
No, just because you people deny this science doesn't mean you can dismiss it.
Riley, what about the paragraph I read?
I've responded.
Yes, they deny your interpretation of science, Anthony. Absolutely.
Responded to the paragraph you read. Perhaps you didn't hear me because you were I was being overtalked. I responded by saying.
You did not respond to it. You ignored it.
Respond. Perhaps you didn't hear me because I was being overspoke. I will repeat my words. Quote from Einstein's thing. As a result of the more careful study of electromagnetic phenomena, we have come to regard action at a distance as process impossible without the intervention of an intermediary medium. He does not say as a gravitational field. He says medium.
He does too. Read
You
what I
liar!
wrote.
You liar! He does say
No.
a gravitational field. He says the word
intermediary
gravitational
medium.
field.
Post it again, Riley.
And you know damn well he does.
Yeah, but listen,
Yeah,
it needs
yeah,
to have an
but- yeah,
intermediary
but- yeah,
medium.
yeah,
It needs
So
to have an
yeah.
intermediary.
He does say the words gravitational field, doesn't he?
Yes, but what you need to understand is the pretext to that, Jeremy, which you're
No, you
denying.
don't. No, you don't.
Yes, you do, because you can't have a gravitational field unless you admit and accept that
this is-
gravitational field
but this-
is a medium, Jeremy.
This is just a way for you to insert the word medium into it, where he didn't.
Jeremy, I'm responding to your.
He didn't feel that I've muted you. He didn't feel the need to use the word medium. You've just pushed it in there. But nevertheless, regardless, this passage still says the reverse of what you claim it says, as do other sentences within this document. So if you want to understand it like that, Anthony, you can, but it should bother you that nobody else understands it that way. Nobody else is interpreting it that way. No one in this room, and there's some very, very clever people in here, much cleverer than you, I can promise you that. Plus, nobody in reality interprets it that way. It's just you. Go ahead.
I don't deny what he says about the gravitational medium, the gravitational field, but you are denying the necessary antecedent that requires a intermediary medium.
Antecedent. There's Nathan Oakley.
Medium. And what you are then doing is contrasting the noun with the other noun, but they are conflation. They are not distinguishing, they are conflating. So he starts with me.
So Einstein's letter to the London Times, which they love to cite, says, in the revolution of the ellipses of the planetary orbits around the sun, confirmed in the cases of Mercury, in the curving of light rays by the action of gravitational fields, confirmed by the English photographs of the ellipses, in a displacement of the spherical lines toward the red end of the spectrum in the case of light transmitted to us from stars of considerable magnitude. The chief attraction of the theory lies in local completeness. If a single one of the conclusions is wrong from it proves wrong, it must be given up. To modify it without destroying the whole structure seems to be impossible. So, yeah.
And then you say from that, because the Earth produces its own gravitational field, that gravitational field is still a medium. All he's doing is conflating the word gravitational field with electromagnetic field, and medium. That's the context.
Incorrect.
By the way, antecedents are by definition necessary. The word necessary is redundant. You don't need.
Yes, we need a medium for there to be a gravitational field.
I know. I didn't think about that at first. Yeah, necessary antecedent is that's redundant.
Necessary antecedent. You just need to say antecedent.
We need a medium for there to be a gravitational field.
I just needed to correct you on that because it's a mistake that you guys have been making for a long time.
So majoring on a minor is a fallacy. Don't major on the minor. Who cares? Let's address the claim. So your original claim, you wanted me to cite something where it says gravity does not cause acceleration.
Yeah.
So when I do that,
how many times are we going to go round in this circle? I've told you what I think about this. You saying it again is not going to change my mind. Nobody here agrees with you. I think you're wrong. Everyone else thinks you're wrong. You're wrong, dude.
Nice.
Even Newton thinks you're wrong.
You need to say that again because you were muted while I was talking.
Oh, well, see, you're doing now exactly what you criticised Nathan for. You're funding muting.
No, I'm just trying to get my sentence out without you interrupting me, and you are doing it a lot.
I'm correcting, not interrupting.
Well, your correction involves interrupting, doesn't it?
Yes, because I don't want you to keep continuing
So
to
you're
rambling on
interrupting
with
then,
your
aren't you?
false
Stop
statements
trying
of
to get
science
off on a
that are
one-word
not true.
technicality, Anthony. All
Why is it
arguments
okay
with
for you
you,
to
all
interrupt me?
arguments with you,
Why is
always
it for you-
boil down.
why
All
is it okay
arguments,
for you to interrupt
all
me, but I
arguments
can't
with you
respond back?
always boil down to one word, don't they? It always
Because
boils
that
down to the
one word-
meaning of a single word, and from that meaning, all of reality is derived.
Jeremy, why is it okay for you to interrupt me and mute me, but I can't interrupt you?
Because I own the place, and I'm
fair enough. At
profoundly
least
unfair.
Yeah, there you go.
Given that I'm the minority view here, and given that I'm your guest, it is more respectful if you want to engage in actual conversation that you allow me to fucking speak.
Then you're not going to interrupt anybody? You hypocrite.
I'm doing. You are doing now. You've had plenty of time to speak. Come on.
I guess I don't. So when you asked me for citation saying gravity doesn't cause acceleration,
gonna
I
say it
then
again.
do that.
Move on, dude.
Can you at least accept and acknowledge that I've provided citation, even if you disagree?
No! Don't you understand, Anthony? No! No! I do not accept it. I think it says the opposite of what you say it says.
And it most certainly does.
I'm not changing my mind on this. There will be no concession on this. This is my opinion. It will not change. If you read it again, it won't change. If you read it 10 times, my opinion...
See, he's got to play this circus music to make his sycophantic, indoctrinated viewers think that, Jim's a clown.
Will not change.
That's the dishonesty of this piece of shit.
My opinion is shared
Sorry for the language, but,
by a whole room of people who are...
Yes, this is Riley you hear. Absolutely. Hey, Rachie, how you doing?
Agree with me. I do not accept you have provided what I asked you for. I have said this over and over and over again. You're just going to have to move on, Anthony. Please.
Take a breath and let me move on. So when earlier on in the conversation...
Could you read paragraph 3?
Not yet. So earlier on in the conversation, when you were asking me to give an explanation for how we carve the gradient inside a container, and I said I refuse to because you people dismiss and deny everything that I say, and then we go through a scenario based on the definition of the word gravity, and you dismiss and deny what's being presented to you, then we have the explanation for why I don't explain stuff to you people.
What, because you're wrong a lot? Good explanation. You should do that. What you're saying is, if I say some bullshit, if I say some,
to you when it is the current position in science, Jeremy.
If I say some bullshit and you argue with it, then that proves I'm right.
Is it, Jeremy? Just give me a one-word answer. In the paragraphs that we've just been talking
the answer's no.
No, it's not. It's not a yes/no answer. In the paragraphs we've just been talking about, is it the medium that causes acceleration, and whether you conflate medium?
Anthony, I am not going to change my mind. No amount of you engineering or manipulating the way that you say the words is going to change that. No amount of... I've been through this. Please, move.
There's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to show you. And I was reading, I just didn't read far enough. In the general theory of relativity, the doctrine of space and time, or kinematics, no longer figures as a fundamental independent of the rest of physics. The geometrical behavior of bodies, and the motion of clocks, rather, depend on gravitational fields, which in their turn are produced by matter. The new theory of gravitation diverges considerably as regards principles from Newton's theory, but its practical results agree so nearly with those of Newton's theory that it's difficult to find criteria for distinguishing them which are accessible to experience. Such have been discovered so far, and I read these 3. The chief attraction of theories lies in logical completeness. If a single one of these conclusions drawn from it proves wrong, it must be given up. To modify it without destroying the whole structure seems to be impossible. Let no one suppose, however, that the mighty work of Newton can really be superseded by this or any other theory. His great and lucid ideas will retain their unique significance for all time as the foundation of our whole modern conceptual structure in the sphere of natural philosophy. He did not supersede Newton. He stated that he couldn't, that it's impossible for him to.
Move on. Move to something else. Talk about a different subject. This is the same subject. You went straight back to talking about exactly the same words in exactly the same paragraph. I disagree with you. I have told you this repeatedly. I'm not the only one who disagrees with you. My position is not unreasonable. I do not agree with you, Anthony. I am not going to agree with you. Please move on to a different subject. Surely there has to be something other than, well, actually, there isn't, is there? All you can do is walk around the internet saying, gravity is not a force. That's all you've done, actually, for about the last 4 years, isn't it?
Jeremy, I'm going to ask my question anyway, and if you choose not to answer, that's up to you. But I'm going to ask it anyway. My question is this. Whether you call it the medium, the electromagnetic field, or the gravitational field, whether you call it any of those nouns, do you accept that Einstein's current position in the theory of general relativity states that it is the medium or the gravitational field that acts on the stone, and it is not a force of attraction?
No.
No, because that's not Einsteinian physics. That's Newtonian physics, dipshit.
No, I do not accept that.
Then you are. Well, there you go. So your own audience sees that you deny the current position in science. Whether you agree or disagree is irrelevant.
Well,
no, the current position of science is Newtonian physics works on Earth. Einsteinian physics works out there. That's the current position of science, Anthony. But you don't know that. Actually, you do know that, but you're dishonest, so you deny it.
No, we don't. When you say the words current position in science, you mean...
No, this is not live with Riley. This is live on Discord, which you can join. And this is a year-old live stream that Anthony Riley put up on his channel. Actually, it's just a video.
My twisted interpretation of some paragraph I found somewhere and some other half a sentence I got from somewhere else. That's what you mean. You don't mean the current position in science.
So this is from QNFEE. Sean's own claim that Polaris is 0.75 of a degree off center at the celestial pole. Now he claims it's a couple arc minutes and even zero. No, I never said it's zero. No, the azimuth to Polaris, the azimuth of Polaris from the direction you're looking at it from is zero. Just thought I'd show that.
That's not what I mean. That's what you're telling people. That's what you're telling your audience that you want me to say that I believe or that I mean.
People
but
can
that's
hear you
not what I
doing
mean.
it. They heard you do it, Anthony. So
That is, it's not, Jeremy, it's not my, it's not my interpretation, Jeremy.
And like I say, as usual,
Hey, Jeremy, did you catch Nathan's show today? It was saying that you're not allowed to discern.
I never ever watch Nathan's show. Well, actually, occasionally I do, but very, very rarely.
It's a
what was he saying? Go ahead. Let's hear this.
I'm going to read to you an extract from an American newspaper. Bear with me, it's on here. It is from PBS News.
As well?
PBS News. California politicians, inspired by a recent UC Berkeley white paper, are mulling over new proposals that would make, and pay attention, that would make the denial of science an infringement of religious freedom. Rejection of basic tenets such as evolution and the Big Bang could in specific circumstances be classified as a form of prejudice, intolerance, or abuse. I put it to you, Jeremy, that one of the basic tenets of your ideology is that gravity is a force, and you're rejecting the current science that says that it's not a force for some woo-woo instead.
No, the current science says Newtonian physics is a force, dipshit.
That has been superseded, and that is literally the rejection.
And no, I just showed you how it's not superseded. Right here, let no one suppose, however, that the mighty work of Newton can be really superseded by this or any other theory. See, this was in the highlighted paragraph. Right here. This was the yellow highlighted paragraph that he wouldn't show when he was on Jose's. Very dishonest. He said he'd get to it, but he never did. He rage quit instead. Gave him an excuse.
Of basic tenets that this PBS News article is claiming could be, in certain circumstances, classified as a form of prejudice, intolerance, or abuse, and you're guilty of it.
I think that you're trying to play a silly word game, and it's your usual, you think you're some sort of internet lawyer that is going to get off on a technicality, again, based on the understanding of a single word. Or in your case, usually the misunderstanding of a single word.
What does not in America?
Nonsense.
We're not in America, first of all.
See, this is why we don't engage with you.
Flat earthers, because that's exactly what you're doing. So this applies to you, flat earthers.
I would add as well that in the UK, of course, teaching young Earth creationism or creationism is illegal in a school. You can't do that. Not as part of science education, anyway.
Well, of course you can.
You can't. Not in the UK, you can't.
Yeah, you can. Would you like citation for that, or we dismiss me if I present citation?
Not as part of science education. You can as part of religious education.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Yes,
can't.
you can. Yes, you can. If I give you the proof that proves that you can, would you accept it or would you dismiss that as well?
Well, it depends what the proof is, you fucking idiot. Well,
It's in the national
the proof could be Nathan said it on the show.
It's in the national curriculum.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
If I show you in the national curriculum, would you accept it, Jeremy? Yes or no?
Well, right. Let's be clear what we're saying here. That the national curriculum, and we're talking about the science curriculum, not religious education curriculum, and we're talking that it teaches the principles of young Earth creationism, not it teaches this is what people used to believe and we don't believe it anymore, something like that.
Correct.
Or
Okay, yes, let's see it. Let's see where this is in the national curriculum.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll find it.
Equal to or the same as.
This would be amazing if it's true.
It's
Yeah,
definitely true.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll deafen myself while I find it and I'll come straight back to you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
In the
This will be his misunderstanding of a single word again. I'll bet you.
Does anybody have a copy of Riley's thesis? I used to have it, but I misplaced it.
Having fun, fellas.
Yeah, thanks. Loads of flat earthers have been in amusing us all day. It's been brilliant.
Is everyone getting their fair share of flat Earth pie?
I want to know what causes
Pretty
these
much.
gravitational fields and if it's dependent on anything.
I don't know what kind of pie you're serving, but no one's been able to tell me. No one's been able to tell me what the ingredients are in flat Earth pie, so I've said no. They said we don't have to provide you with the ingredients for flat Earth pie, so I'm sticking with my globe pie right here.
Oh, you can make it up as you go along. It's, it can be delicious or dreadful. It all depends what you put in it.
Panda.
Jeremy.
Right there is a national curriculum for the UK. It only
Jeremy?
says the word religious twice in that entire document.
Jeremy.
So yeah, I'm here. Where am I looking?
Okay, so on that
I'm actually not following this part of the conversation that well. So
link that I've sent to you in the private messages, under
Yeah.
the two documents, it's got a heading that says details. Would you read the first paragraph after the word details, please?
Hang on. Which document? Sorry.
In the link, you'll
Yeah.
find the two documents at the top under the heading of documents. Go below that, and it describes the details in a subparagraph called details.
Okay,
Would you read
this is the statutory national curriculum framework. It is issued by law. You must follow it unless there is a good reason not to. The framework includes the programs of study for all subjects for key stages 1 to 4.
Okay, so let's focus.
Is there a relevant bit of this?
Let's focus on the second sentence. It is issued by law. You must follow it unless there is a good reason not to.
Right.
So, young Earth creationism.
Yeah.
Given that the first law of thermodynamics says that matter cannot be created nor destroyed, we have creation that comes from what you say is a cosmic explosion called the Big Bang. But there are alternative explanations for that said event. So because there are alternative explanations, they are good reasons not to follow this. So you can talk about New Earth creationism in the context of science.
So your way of showing
God.
me how young Earth creationism is in the national curriculum is a way of showing me how it's not in the national curriculum.
No, how it violates the first law of thermodynamics.
it always everything violates the laws of thermodynamics.
You don't have to follow the rules of the national curriculum because of your interpretation of a couple of words at the start here.
So your claim was that you cannot teach New Earth creationism in the UK.
That's the
So now
longest
I've
thread
cited
I've
to you
ever
in the
heard.
same way that I cited Einstein's theory of general relativity. I've now cited to you the details described in the national curriculum that clearly state that it is issued by law and you must follow it unless there is a good reason not to. And when the Big Bang explodes into creation, or not creation, but whatever word you use to describe that increase of energy.
So hold on, stop. Even if what you were saying is true, what you're saying is that you said it was in the national curriculum. You're saying now it can be taught if there's a good reason not to follow the national curriculum, right?
No. Again,
that's what it says. It says the national curriculum. It is issued by law. You must follow it. You must follow it. The national curriculum is the thing you must follow, unless there is a good reason not to. So if there's a good reason not to follow it, you're saying a good reason not to follow it is Big Bang, whatever bullshit you've come up with. So therefore, if you don't follow the national curriculum, you can then teach young Earth creationism.
Because the Big Bang theory essentially is, I'm going to say this very loosely, so don't make a big deal out of it. But
Oh, by the way, their whole thing with trying to get this bullshit put into the national curriculum, that got squashed right off the bat.
This doesn't.
They saw right through that.
Say the Big Bang. Let's just deal with the words that are here. What you're saying is that in the circumstance where you have a good reason not to follow the national curriculum, in that circumstance of having that reason not to follow it, then you can teach young Earth creationism. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. Let me just say, let me answer, let me address you so that you can, at least your audience can hear me, even if you disagree.
Can you do it with the words that are here, not add a load of start talking about the Big Bang? Because that's not in
Yes. I can.
Nice if you could post the link so all of us could look at it.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
sorry, guys. Sorry. I'll post it now. I'll post it now. Hang on. Sorry, I do apologise. Sorry.
I feel
Yeah,
like
go
this
ahead.
would be an argument in court to commit murder if it doesn't reject murder in the law.
Right, but what I wanted to see was where in the national curriculum it has teaching of young Earth creationism, and of course it doesn't. What you're saying is if you don't follow it, then you can do it, but you can't.
Let's follow what the words say closely. Jeremy, let me answer. Let me address you.
Creationism being taught as science was outlawed in English state schools. I can't remember what year it was.
Can I answer you or not? Is it a what's the word? A church in here? You can only. I'm trying to address your lies.
Sorry, go on.
Right. So because it says it is issued by law, you must follow it. That would be things like not New Earth creation, because you say that they're illegal, right? So it would not be. So it would be things like evolution. Yeah.
Right.
You've got to follow this thing of evolution or Big Bang or whatever it is in science that describes how Earth came into existence. Right. You have to follow this document.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
But it continues, Jeremy. It says unless there is a good reason not to. Now, when there is a big explosion that causes intelligent design to increase, entropy.
Yes, Anthony, I get your argument. You say there is a good reason.
That violates the first law of thermodynamics, Jeremy, because you can't get.
Yes, I get it. You say there is a
you
good
can't
reason.
teach New Earth creationism because that is a good reason not to teach the Big Bang.
So, Anthony, look up the second law of thermodynamics and show where it has the word gas in it.
What?
Says who? Says whose? That's a good reason.
So but that again, that relies on your twisted interpretation. But what you're saying is that's a reason for you not to follow the national curriculum, right?
Not just a reason, Jeremy. A good reason. It's not just any old reason. It's a good reason.
All right. If you say, well, you think it is. I mean, nobody agrees with you on that. Let's be right about that. But you say it's a good reason. But you say it's a good reason not to follow the national curriculum. So that doesn't mean young Earth creationism is part of the national curriculum, which is what you said. That's ridiculous.
No, I didn't say.
It's outlawed. It is outlawed to teach in the national curriculum as
Jeremy,
science.
Your words were that you can't teach New Earth creationism in school in the UK.
You can't.
And I brought to you
not in a state school. I should have said state school. There are some religious schools, but in
I've got the
state
national
schools, you
curriculum
can't.
for you and your audience, and they can all see that it says it is issued by law and you must follow it unless there is a good reason not to. The argument for New Earth creationism is that the Earth cannot result from an explosion where everything explodes into existence, causing intelligent design. That is the good reason.
But Anthony, this is your twisted interpretation that you've invented.
No.
Yes,
You're just denying what it says, Jeremy. You're denying that it says if there's a good reason not to.
I'm not denying what it says. Look,
yes, you are. Because you're
Anthony,
saying
this is your twisted interpretation. But where your twisted interpretation, even if we accept its lunacy, where it takes you is to a place where you are not following the national curriculum. That's where it gets you. And you're saying, I have a good reason not to follow the national curriculum. And if I do that, then I can teach creationism. So that's the opposite of creationism being part of the national curriculum.
And Anthony thinks because he understands science wrongly, that's reason. His misunderstanding of science is his reason.
You said it's not part of the national curriculum. It's outlawed for it to be part of the national curriculum, outlawed for it to be taught in UK state schools. And the only way it can be taught is in religious schools. And presumably with your twisted, mad, weird interpretation and insistence on some beliefs about the Big Bang and science and all this crap, all Nathan Oakley's temple stuff that all has to be true for your twisted interpretation to have any validity anyway. But
well done. Well said. I love it. If an American says you're mad, it just means you're angry. But if a British person says you're mad, it means you're insane. And it's just the way they say it. If I say you're mad, it doesn't mean you're crazy. it's the accent. It's just funny.
But as I say, the only place it takes you is not the national curriculum. It does not take you to the national curriculum, which is where you needed to be. You were wrong.
What's actually happening is that when you ask me for 2 pieces of documentation that supports my position and I then present them, because you disagree with them, you then make some ludicrous claim that I am in some way delusional or whatever. Yeah, I am supporting my evidence, my citations or my positions with supporting evidence. And in the first instance, I showed you it was not gravity that is an acceleration, it's the medium. And you denied it. Now,
no, you didn't show that.
In the second instance, I'm showing you that the national curriculum does allow you to talk about new Earth
You actually
creationism.
said it was part of it, not allow. Everyone heard you say it was part of the curriculum.
No, I didn't say that. I disputed
No,
Jeremy
you
saying
didn't.
that it
You
was
said it was
outlawed.
part of the national curriculum. Were your
I
words?
didn't. I said that you are allowed to teach new Earth creation to go against what you said that it was not. It was outlawed, and you could not.
You are not allowed to teach New Earth creationism by definition of the fact that you have to not go against, or you have to go against the national curriculum in order to teach it.
But I've just explained how you can. Because the explosion, the Big Bang, because the Big Bang explosion is because the Big Bang explosion is essentially, I'll use the phrase order from chaos. Don't shoot me on that.
Relevant what your justification is for not.
No, it isn't irrelevant. It isn't irrelevant. It is essential because it says
what your justification is. As long as
no,
you
it is very relevant. You're denying what it says in the
follow
national curriculum, sir.
You can teach it. That's all you're saying, but that wasn't your premise. Your premise
You
was that
anti-flat earthers are denying the evidence that says to the contrary. It clearly says that you must follow the national curriculum unless there is a good reason not to. So it doesn't say that you cannot do anything else outside of the national curriculum. You have the freedom to do what you want within the national curriculum or outside of it if there's a good reason to do so. And when someone points out that the explosion creates intelligent design, and that seems to be a bit of an issue, that would then justify explaining, maybe there is something that's causing all this to create a new Earth creation. You could do that with a good reason, and the good reason would be it violates the first law of thermodynamics, because energy and matter can neither be created nor destroyed, yet we somehow end up in a position where we have an increase of intelligence, not a decrease, which entropy always dictates.
You're forgetting your words. He asked you.
An increase or decrease of intelligence? Intelligence has nothing to do with entropy, man. Nothing.
Clarify whether or not it's part of the curriculum, and you agreed that it was
my
part
words
of
at
the
all.
curriculum.
I am reminding you of my words that are in direct refutation for Jeremy's words when he said that it is not allowed to teach new Earth creationism in the national curriculum, and I've shown that it is, because it is a good reason not to teach, not to just isolate it to the Big Bang Theory, because, let's be honest, if you were God and you wanted to create an Earth, you could just poof it into existence, and that poof could be interpreted to be the Big Bang, could it not?
Bro, we all heard you say it was part of the curriculum. Like, you don't have to deny it. We all heard you say it. Like
Now
3
you're
times.
lying as well. I didn't say it was part of the curriculum. I said it is expressly in the curriculum, and it is because I've given the citation that supports.
So if something's in something, it's not a part of it. So if something's in the curriculum, it's not part of that curriculum.
It says, and again, let's focus on the words.
What a lying stain.
It is issued by law. You must follow it unless there is a good reason not to. That would
What's
include new Earth creationism.
What's the difference between something being part of something and something being in something?
Hang on. Anthony, what you're saying is, and I'm going to draw a parallel here.
The difference is the restriction on not teaching it as per Jeremy and the inclusion of it by expression in the actual document by the national curriculum itself. That is the difference.
Anthony, I got a question for you. You're going to a baseball game. They say no firearms are permitted unless you're a police officer. Now you go to the baseball game. You're not a police officer. You bring a firearm. Are you going to be watching the game in the stadium, or are you not?
Good point.
So let's paraphrase that. In the national curriculum, if you're going to teach that the only evolution in the Big Bang is going to be acceptable, does it mean that you cannot teach anything else beyond that? Or if there's a good reason to do so, does it mean that you're permitted to?
Yes, exactly. If you go to the baseball game and you bring a weapon, but you're not a police officer, did you bring a weapon? You did. Are you going to be watching the baseball game? No, you're not.
So let's paraphrase. You go to the classroom and you teach all the children about new Earth creation, and Jem Panda jumps up and says, whoa, it is expressly permitted, excluded that you do not teach it. And then the teacher says, but hang on, it says if there's a good reason not to. You then say, well, what's your good reason? And then you say, well, it violates the first. So at that point,
your misunderstanding of the Big Bang does not justify a good reason not to teach it.
I haven't finished.
You don't understand the Big Bang. It's clear by what you said that you don't understand what the Big Bang Theory entails, because
Yeah. See, it's also going on the assumption that teachers are smarter than you, Anthony. That's what it's going on, the assumption. That's the motivation behind it. Teachers are smarter than you.
it doesn't say anything about the start of the existence of the matter. It just talks about what happens after the matter came into existence, however that happened. So you can't conflate the two things, because the Big Bang never says anything about where the energy in the Big Bang came from. It doesn't.
I think you can conflate the two things. I think you can find that.
The point is, not whether or not Big Bang is whatever. It's not about the subject matter. It is about whether the subject matter in question can be taught or not. And Jeremy says that you cannot teach New Earth creationism because he says it's illegal. Yet I've given him the national curriculum that expressly states that it's not, unless it's a good you must
haven't
follow
provided a good reason.
unless there is a good reason not
You
to.
have
So
not
when somebody
provided
says-
a good reason, Anthony.
Yeah, and who
Whether or
does?
not you
It's a
give a
violation
good
of the
reason
first law of
doesn't make it a good
thermodynamics.
reason.
It's a violation of the first law of
You
thermodynamics.
don't understand fucking thermodynamics, so don't quote the first law at me. You're not even quoting it right. The first law is about energy, not matter.
So again, this is about an argument about the merits of the thing. I accept that you think that I don't understand it. That isn't
Yes,
the point.
because the words that are coming out of your mouth show me that you don't understand it. I've been studying mechanical engineering for the past fucking 4 years, and I know for a fact that you don't fucking understand what the fuck you're talking about, Riley.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter whether you think that or not. And I'll give you that I don't understand it. The point
So you admit that you don't understand it, but you're going to argue it.
is that it is not prohibited for teaching the New Earth creation because it is a good reason to question how things got better as a result of an explosion. Now, whether
What
you
you're
agree
saying
or
is
disagree
if-
about that point is irrelevant. The
What
point
you-
is it is not prohibited.
What you're saying is if somebody comes up with a good reason, i.e. a scientist in science, then they could teach it, which I think everyone would agree with. But that hasn't
It doesn't say a good reason as a scientist must say this. It just says a good reason not to, and a good reason would be it's a violation of the first law of thermodynamics, regardless of whether you agree or disagree. The fact that you disagree shows that there's an argument there.
No, the fact that you don't understand why it has nothing to do with thermodynamics is the entire root of it, Anthony.
But if you don't accept it, I don't care. But
No,
I
you're
just wanted to
fucking wrong,
refute
Anthony.
Jeremy's claim. I just wanted to refute Jeremy's claim that it is illegal to teach New Earth creation in the national curriculum in the UK because it is not.
Nobody agrees it's a good reason, so your point falls.
Michael
Okay.
Gove, right? He's the head of education or something like that. He said, here in the UK, we are fortunate that there is a strong political consensus against the teaching of creationism in schools as a scientifically valid theory. Michael Gove has said that he is crystal clear that creationism is not science and therefore will not be taught as such in schools.
Okay. And what role is Michael Gove in this context?
Google him.
He is just a politician. Is he an academic? No. Is he a teacher? No. Is he anybody that understands anything to do with this topic in the topic in question? No. He's a politician. So his opinion
He's in the government,
is literally
for fuck's sake.
irrelevant.
So what are you? What are you, Anthony? You're not even a politician. You're a failed lawyer. You're a bus driver. You're a not bus driver. You're a truck driver. What authority do you think you have?
As is yours, Tony.
I mean, what a moron. He really is full of himself, isn't he?
Yeah, well, if Michael Gove's is irrelevant and mine's irrelevant, what makes you think that yours is somehow relevant?
We have backing for ours, Tony.
You have no backing. There is
Yep.
no science for the Big Bang. It's just a theory.
That is science.
Just a theory. God, I love it.
Science makes theories. That's what science is, right? You know that.
Science doesn't make theories. Science establishes the cause of an effect through empirical research and experiment.
So there's no such thing as a scientific theory? God, you're dumb. Holy crap, he's dumb.
So no theories are part of science, according to you.
Depends on what you mean when you say theory. Are you using the word theory in the scientific definition?
Oh, it depends on what you mean by the word and.
Or are you using it in the colloquial definition?
Yeah, in the scientific definition, a scientific theory is part of science.
Yeah, a scientific theory is full of established experiment. There are numerous experiments that support a scientific theory. I suspect that you're using it in the colloquial sense, that it's just merely a theory and you're trying to flip me off with that definition, and that's the incorrect one.
You're talking about the theory of the Big Bang or anything else, which is a scientific theory.
No, it's not a scientific theory.
Yes,
it's just a theory in the colloquial.
Yeah, it is. It's a scientific theory. Yes, it most certainly is. You don't understand what a theory is.
It is a scientific theory, Anthony.
There is no evidence to prove, or no, that's nonsense. There is
plenty
no
of
science for a
evidence
Big
that
Bang.
supports the Big Bang.
Aren't they?
There's no scientific evidence for a Big Bang. It is just speculative. They call it theoretical physics for a reason.
The Big Bang isn't theoretical physics, Anthony.
It is not a
It's based off
scientific
of our observations of what is occurring in the universe.
Yeah, observations are not science. That's not a scientific theory, even if you say it is.
I mean, I
It's a
just
definition
Googled
of
it. It
science,
says
sir.
the Big Bang is a scientific theory about prevailing cosmological blah, 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 blah. It's a science, that's just what it is. Do you disagree with everything?
Let's move the point on. Let's say that I concede. Does it mean that it is expressly excluded that you talk about other causes for how we came into existence? Yes or no?
Who's excluding?
Yes, it is expressly in English schools. It's expressly excluded. Yes.
Again, I'll read what it says. It is issued by law, and you must follow it unless there is a good reason not to. So if there is a good reason not to, and you can justify that any way you wish and disagree with me if you wish, but if there is a good reason not to, then it permits you talking about the alternatives.
Yeah,
But
that's
who
true.
has determined
Creationism is not an alternative.
But
to
hold
Big
on.
Bang.
But who has determined that the reasons that you are providing are good reasons?
Exactly.
You've determined that, haven't you?
No,
Anthony,
science.
No,
creationism
science
is not an
hasn't made
alternative.
any comments on your reasons, has it?
Science doesn't have lips, does it?
No, right. So
Right.
the
Science
only
can't
person
No, so whenever you, Riley, say that science says,
comment.
So the only person that has determined that your reasons are good reasons is you, isn't it?
No, no.
Oh,
You
who else
guys-
has determined that your reasons would be good reasons in this educational context?
well, let's see, who else was in it? Karen B. I think that's one of them. Nathan Oakley, Quantum Eraser, 10th Man. They all agree with him.
Who else has determined that?
You can
Other
apply
than-
the principles. You can apply the principles of logic to establish whether or not something has a good foundation or not.
You're just saying you're just going to speak for everyone else and just say, well, they would agree with me because I'm being really logical.
No, I'm not speaking for anybody
Right,
or
so-
everybody. I am
No,
saying that
no.
Yes, logic dictates that if 99.9% of the population of the planet says one thing and all the science, demonstrable, repeatable science backs that up, you're wrong.
you can apply principles of logic to establish whether or not a house can build itself given enough time, or do you need a builder?
What's that got to do with the price of cheese? We're not talking
Nothing
about
to do
whether
with
a
the
house
price of
can build
cheese.
itself. We're talking
It has nothing to
about
do with the price-
you were
it has
saying that because of what is written here, this says that you can teach young Earth creationism in an English school, and your determination of that has come from your claim that what you think about the Big Bang, etc., would be a good reason to not follow the national curriculum. But how do you know that that would be considered a good reason to not follow the national curriculum? You don't know that. You've just decided that they're good reasons because you like them. Does anyone agree with you? Anyone of any significance agree with you on this?
I did not say not follow the national curriculum. I said you
That's
can
what
teach
that
it.
thing says, dude.
I didn't say exclude. I didn't say not follow the curriculum. I said you can teach it, and I've given you the justification for how. Whether you agree or disagree with me on the merits of any particular claim on a subject is irrelevant. The point is that you can teach it, contrary to your claim that you cannot.
Yeah, but
And the British government, I guess, whoever was the council that heard his arguments, completely disagreed with him.
in order to teach it, even if I accept what
It was just another failure from Anthony Riley.
you've said is true, which it isn't in any way, it's just nonsense. But even if I accept that to be true, to teach it, you have to be not following the national curriculum. Don't
Incorrect. Incorrect.
How-
You misunderstand the words.
you? No, I don't.
In order-
How is it then within the national curriculum? How is that?
You're not read. This is why I said let's pay particular attention to the words, Jeremy.
Right.
See, he's twisting the words of the national curriculum to be able to horn in, thumb in some flat earth in there to indoctrinate the kids so that they'll remain stupid and open to suggestion.
Let's do that.
So that he can groom them on TikTok and whatever social media group is popular with kids.
It is
because, as I said before, and he brags about it to this day, not just when he was confronted on it, to this day, he brags that, yeah, I do that.
issued by law, and you must follow it.
Right,
It's
hang
in
on,
the national-
stop. What is it?
The national curriculum.
Okay, great.
Right.
So let's
you must-
replace. Hang on. Every time we see the word "it," let's replace it with the word "national curriculum." Okay. So the national curriculum is issued by law. You must follow the national curriculum unless there is a good reason not to follow
There you
the
go.
national curriculum.
Right. And Anthony's good reason not to follow the national curriculum is that science lies and he's right and everyone else on the planet is wrong.
I've added
There
that
you go.
bit in there, right?
There you go. There you go. So unless there is a good reason not to,
Right.
Follow the national
because,
curriculum.
because he's been indoctrinated into the flat earth cult and he has internet cancer.
So there are countless reasons why the Big Bang Theory is not credible. Now, whether we go into the merits of the arguments is irrelevant.
Okay, I get it. So let's pretend for some delusional moment that the blabber that you're coming out with amounts to a good reason. The court of Anthony Riley has decided it, and it is so. So you have a good reason to do what?
To depart from the national curriculum and teach
Right.
alternatives.
Depart from the national curriculum. So if you
that doesn't mean exclude.
So if
That doesn't mean exclude. That doesn't mean exclude. What that means is the national curriculum says that we evolved from a Big Bang. But the alternative explanation is that God did it. I'm simplifying for the sake of illustration. But
Right, that's religion. That's not taught. That's not a good reason to include it.
my point is, I'm not saying exclude the national curriculum. I'm saying give a bipartisan view and say some people say that the Big Bang Theory is not credible, and here's who them people are, and here's their justification for it, and that will be entirely permitted within the national curriculum.
What do you think happens when you depart a train station? Are you still at the train station?
Yeah, until you convince the Secretary of State.
Let's analogize. Let's apply that to a train station analogy. You start off at train station 1, and then you go to train station.
But you answer his question, Anthony. See, they can't answer questions because they know that every question that's asked to them, the answers prove them wrong.
2, and in the national curriculum it stops at train station 2. But by extension you can say, well, there's another train station that you can go to, and there's a third one that you can go to.
No, that's not what he asked, Anthony. He said, if you are at a train station and you're on a train and you leave that train station, are you still at the train station? That train station. Didn't say anything about any other train station. See, you're trying to rationalize your way out of the answer by including all this other extraneous stuff. See, he thinks he's being slick, but he's not smart enough to be clever or slick.
And you're still going to get to the same destination because we've got to go through the second train station, but there's a few more stops that you can go to.
Right, but did you leave the first train station?
It doesn't stop at just that first station. That's the correct analogy.
That wasn't
Really? What if you're at the last train station? What if you're at the last station on the line, Anthony? What about then? Then there's no other train stations you can go to. You have to get off. Or if it's the second, if it's the second one, if it's the one before the end of the line, and you leave that train station, you're no longer there. You got one more to go to, but you've left that last train station.
Extension, that was a completely different analogy that happened to also use trains.
However, if train station number 3 is only existing in your imagination,
Nobody's saying.
Can I just read this as well?
We should exclude the national curriculum. What I'm saying is you are allowed to teach it by extension because it is expressly said that if it's just got a good reason to do so, you can do so.
Now, the natural progression is get flat Earth in, and then say flat Earth is the truth. You can't teach this other stuff because that would go against the curriculum of flat Earth.
Oh,
Except
so
it's
expressly excluded.
Except it's expressly said that you can't teach it. The government
No,
has
it doesn't.
changed.
It says that you can.
Listen. The government has changed the rules to preclude all academies and free schools, both those that already exist and those that will open in the future, from teaching pseudoscientific ideas such as creationism as scientifically valid. The changes have been made through extending an explicit ban to all future academies and free schools, but also by clarifying that it believes the requirement to teach a broad and balanced curriculum means no existing academies and free schools can teach pseudoscience either.
And that's exactly what they told him when he tried it. See, that's the same thing Travis Finley tried to do. Tried to sneak in flat Earth bullshit into a physics website. Got caught by me.
So here we have the distinction between pseudoscience and science. And then we have to start talking about what science is there for Big Bang or evolution or anything else that's contentious. And when we start talking about science, again, we have a defined term, meaning for the word science, and it involves experiments. It doesn't involve just observation.
No, we don't. In this case, we don't, Anthony. In this case, we don't, Anthony, because they specifically use the word creationism. They give an example of a pseudoscientific idea, and the example that they give is creationism. And it is
So
banned
what is your citation from?
teaching. It is banned. What? My citation is from Humanists UK. This is from June the 18th, 2014. So I guess that was probably not long after the legislation was passed.
The Department of Education have made it clear to me personally in emails that the teachers are free to teach more diverse topics than just within the national curriculum. And they
Right, as long as they don't violate the national curriculum by teaching pseudoscience. Right? If the curriculum says you've got to teach physics, and these are some examples of physics that you can teach, you could teach another example of physics. You can teach another one that's not in that curriculum, as long as it aligns with the curriculum of being science.
expressly include things like, I don't know, from a religious perspective, like Hindus, Muslims, whatever religious perceptions that other
I said that. I specifically said that at the start. You can teach it as part of religious education, but you cannot teach it as part of science education.
And then it went further.
Specifically made that distinction. So you don't get to waffle it in there now. What is taught in religion? We're only
waffles
talking about what is taught in science classes. Only that.
Yes, but it went further. It contrasted the difference between science against pseudoscience. And you said creationism, according to the article, is pseudoscience. Yes. Well, where's the science for Big Bang?
Look,
it's established. You just haven't understood it or learned it.
If you want to have an argument, with the government about it, away you go. I don't need to do that.
That's the whole point, Jeremy, isn't it?
I don't need to establish the logic of their lawmaking. What I need to establish.
They're not lawmakers.
Shut up. What I need to establish. I'll shut you up. What I need to establish only for my argument is the position of in the UK on teaching creationism. It is banned. It is not allowed. It is specifically named as not being allowed, Anthony. Not under any circumstances, except as part of religious education.
You're wrong. It says pseudoscience, and then it names creationism as pseudoscience.
Yes.
So by
yeah,
there's no evidence for it.
By implication, of course there is, but that's irrelevant.
No, there's no evidence for creation, man. None. Zero. Me breathing is not an evidence for creation. My folks made me.
Implication, it means that it's classing.
That's what the basis of pseudoscience is. Evidence.
Scientific.
It's doing what?
That's the Big Bang Theory. It's scientific.
Hang on. There's another twisted understanding coming. Say that again, Anthony. What does it mean?
Because it expressly states that creationism is pseudoscience, it implies that not.
No, it expressly says it is. Quoted. It says it is.
Creation, evolution, or Big Bang would be considered to be scientific.
Oh my God!
Creations
don't matter in law. It's what's actually written.
Big Bang is not a creation.
Anthony, we don't have to justify the Big Bang. The bottom line is creationism is pseudoscience. It's been declared as such, and that's the end of it. That's the end of creationism. Now, whatever other theories there are out there are irrelevant. The bottom line is creationism is not science.
According to the documentation that Jeremy's read, which is not a credible citation.
Okay.
Although I think creation is true, I have to agree with Bob because you can't do you can't use a scientific method and a hypothesis and test to check that creationism is true.
Exactly. And you can't do that with Big Bang Theory either. So that would also mean that Big Bang Theory...
Yes, you can. You most certainly can.
...is equally as pseudoscience as what creation is by your own standards.
I mean, people like Anthony and all the rest think that scientists have just done nothing at all. Nothing. And they just started doing science like in 2017. They don't understand that we've been testing the Earth and space and everything else for decades, for centuries.
That you just applied.
So national curriculum.
That's not true, Anthony. Obviously,
it is true. It is
We're talking
true.
about
You can deny it if you want, guys, but it is true.
But only you think it's true, Anthony. Try and remember that.
No, but we don't judge science by consensus. We judge science by proving.
No, consensus is part of science, dipshit. Consensus is an integral part of science. That's how you get theories. Other scientists test your hypothesis and your results, and they repeat them. And if they can repeat them, then they confirm that, yes, it meets peer review and it meets consensus.
In the cause of an effect. You guys misunderstand what science is. It's not about consensus.
No, that's your made-up version. Well, quantum erasure is made-up version.
Your delusion by consensus. That doesn't make it scientific.
Okay, can you find me any reputable scientific institution or scientific source that agrees with your bullshit that astronomy is pseudoscience?
Yeah. See, that's what I've been asking them. Just show me one credible source that agrees with anything you say. And they can't show it. They can't cite it. They can't show the citation.
Listen, let me make it clear. Don't even bother to answer the question if you're going to do this, okay? I don't want something that doesn't say the words astronomy is pseudoscience. I don't want something that says something completely different that you're going to interpret to mean that. I want to see something from a reputable institution that says the words astronomy is pseudoscience. I only want that. If you can't provide that, I'm not interested in an answer.
We can simply define what science is.
No, you can't, because you're dishonest. You call anything that debunks flat Earth pseudoscience. You're not honest. You can't define it, Anthony.
Your definition
for you,
is
but you're not going
wrong.
to convince the people doing science.
Yeah, Anthony, your definition is wrong, and sticking to it doesn't really help your case.
Right. I just want you to find someone that agrees with your definition, or admit
really.
that, like Oakley does sometimes, just say, "Oh well, science has been hijacked and it doesn't do this, but it should do." If you admit that, that would at least be a more honest position, instead of pretending that that is what science is, and therefore that means you could teach creationism in schools.
Anthony, your definition of science is not designed to promote truth. It's designed to exclude evidence that's contrary to your confirmation bias.
Yep.
In your opinion.
So your definition of the
In
curriculum
everyone's
means
opinion,
that if
Anthony.
anyone feels that there's ever a good reason to believe anything, that they could teach that. So anything would be on the table.
Well, it has to have a good reason for it. It can't just be we can teach dog shit because it makes sense.
According to who?
A judge. Not a citation on the internet, not the rumpus, definitely not Gem Panda, and definitely not this cult in this room.
What judge?
We're not a court. We're not lawyers.
Well, that's how we decide.
No, that's not how you decide science. That's how you decide a criminal or civil case, Anthony. You don't decide science in a court of law.
We go to a judge and say, hey.
The burden of proof is different in science than it is in law. I mean, in law, you've got both sides have the burden of proof, depending on what the case is. If it's a civil case, then the person making the claim has the burden of proof. If it's a criminal case, the people have the burden of proof to prove the person did it. See, in law, you've got two different ways you could do burden of proof, but in science, there's only one.
Hey, judge, these guys think blue and we think red. Which one's correct? And the judge will deem in his decision which one's correct.
Judges and courts don't determine.
And no, a judge cannot determine what is objectively a color. Can't. It's impossible.
Science. Period.
Hey, Anthony,
well, they define terms. They do that all the time. So when we have a defined term of pseudoscience being new Earth creationism, a judge would be able to tell us what pseudoscience is, and we have because we have definitions like gravity, which you guys don't know. You don't know what science is either. I think a judge is more likely to say that something that's pseudoscience will be something I don't know that's not based on scientific method, because that's the definition of what pseudoscience is.
The judge
is not science.
A judge can provide a clarification on the definition for the purposes of the law.
So whoever this is taking the summation of something and going with that. It's funny. You think he's read all these papers? No.
At hand, not for all of life.
And I'll guarantee every citation he pulls up here will prove him wrong somewhere in that citation.
I think when you have a decision in law on the definition of the meaning of a word, say pseudoscience, the meaning of life or the effect on life is going to be prevalent, because it is going to fundamentally change what's taught to children if you teach things that are considered to be science when they're actually not. They're actually pseudoscientific.
Anthony, any evidence for?
Let me give an explicit example here. The American law defines marijuana as having no medical use. That doesn't stop the medical profession from actually finding medical uses for it.
You're talking to the converted, mate. I know that marijuana has medical uses.
Okay, good. So we see that a judge.
I think you're missing the point, Anthony, deliberately.
Or a lawyer or lawmaker making a definition doesn't actually change the real world.
Of course I can. I understand the legal concept is a legal fiction, but that doesn't.
And yet you're not a lawyer and you couldn't pass the bar? But you understand law, right? Better than all the lawyers?
Judge said it was, if a judge says that young Earth was...
These people are the arbiters of what we consider to be science over pseudoscience. And in this case...
So if a judge says your name isn't Anthony, is that good enough for you?
Only for the context of the law.
You're going to change your name if a judge says your name isn't Anthony?
But Anthony, what is pseudoscience? It's not evidence-based. Science is evidence-based, correct?
No, the definition of pseudoscience is the mistaken belief that you are applying or adhering to scientific method by definition.
Okay, so when has the flat earth ever been put through the scientific method, Anthony? Any flat earthers that are listening to this, when has the scientific method ever been put, ever examined the flat earth? So you people stop at the first step of the scientific method, observation. You don't go any further. So you talking about the scientific method is hysterical.
Definition, that's what it is.
The scientific method. What do you mean by the scientific method? You can't go back to Nathan and for your resource here of what the scientific method is, or quantum eraser. We know that there has to be.
You asked him, "Do you know what pseudoscience is?" He gave you the answer, and then you go on to something else. There is no path. There is no coherent path of logic.
It's just not really. Well, I think where the logic failed was when Anthony, as usual, tried to define science by defining pseudoscience.
Right.
Well, no, because you said in your article that New Earth creation was considered pseudoscience. But then I said
it is. It most certainly is.
Well, it is. So then we're talking about what is considered science or pseudoscience.
Is astronomy pseudoscience? Let's go back to astronomy. Why?
New Earth creationism, pseudoscience. Flat Earth, pseudoscience. Big Bang, science.
What do you think astronomy is pseudoscience?
Because it's an experiment by definition.
Wait, hold on a second. This is.
Oh, yeah, an experiment means you have to physically manipulate the variable, and you can't do that with space.
Correct to the problem right here.
Yeah.
We don't think astronomy is a pseudoscience because it is one of the greatest sciences of our time. And it is not.
It is an observational science.
Because we can't do experimentation. We do experimentation. We do it all the time. That's why it's a science.
Let me answer you. Your question was, why do you think astronomy is not science? And my answer is, by defining what pseudoscience is, it tells us that it is a collection of beliefs.
That's not my question. Tell me why you think astronomy is not science.
See, you can't define what red is by saying what green is not. You can't do that, Anthony. That's being dishonest.
Forget about what
because I'm trying to give you the answer, and you interrupted me, so I'll do it for a second time and see if you interrupt me again. The definition of pseudoscience, which is astronomy, is a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific method. Astrology is not based on scientific method. It is based only on
astronomy, Anthony.
Astronomy, whatever. They're both the same.
No, that's not whatever.
They're both the same. No, astrology and astronomy are not the same, Anthony. What are you talking about?
Very important delineation between the two. Astrology is pseudoscience. Astronomy is not, and we can do experimentation. Hold on, now you're interrupting me. You're interrupting me now. You're interrupting me now.
Let me say it again so I'm clear.
You're interrupting. Let me finish my sentence, Anthony. You're wrong. We have experimentation, and science is used. The method is used, whatever that method is, because there's many methods in astronomy.
No. Scientific method is not used with astronomy.
Absolutely.
I can give you an example where scientific method has been used in astronomy.
What was the independent variable in your?
Back in the
What was the independent variable in your?
Can I finish giving my example?
No. Just tell me what.
I tell you, one instance where it was used was the existence of Neptune. The hypothesis was that according to Kepler's laws of planetary motion and the effects of gravity by large bodies, there will be a planet in this point in space at such and such a day, at such and such a time. Point your telescopes in this place and you'll see it. And that's how they discovered Neptune.
What the independent variable was?
They posed a hypothesis. They saw an observation. They proposed a hypothesis. They made observations and confirmed the hypothesis.
Stop it, Anthony.
Anthony, they were trying to figure out what was causing the change in the orbits of Uranus. And what they figured out mathematically was this, and they used math for this. They experimentally added mathematical equations to figure out where a position of a possible planet would be and predicted the positioning of Neptune. That is science being done with experimentation using math to find a missing planet.
Absolutely.
It isn't. There are two reasons why. One, Galileo discovered Neptune before you applied your maths. So your example that you're citing right now is an example
of Neptune.
Stop.
No,
I
we
haven't finished speaking.
All right, let him get his other one out. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I haven't finished with the first one.
Okay.
It is an example of the Texas sharpshooter fallacy because Galileo discovered Neptune 200 years before your example where you use maths to try and predict the position of another planet.
Right.
It was already...
Right, Galileo saw something, but he couldn't quantify it. They quantified it.
Known by Galileo, Texas sharpshooter fallacy.
That's different than, I can see a bird flying in the air. I haven't discovered a new bird. Now, scientists, ornithologists look at that bird with telescopes or binoculars, and they identify features of that bird, and they discover the new bird.
Fallacy.
Galileo logged Neptune.
Let him get it out. Let him get it out. Let him get it out. Please let him get it out.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
You are
Galileo
lying.
discovered Neptune.
He's not
2009.
saying, do I need to mute you?
The second argument is you can't use maths to make a prediction and classify that as science because it is not a valid independent variable which is required by science.
You can't use math and science. Can you speak French without? Can you speak the French language without using French? Be pretty hard to, wouldn't it?
So once again, you use a definition to exclude evidence that does not meet your confirmation bias. Math most definitely is part of science. And yes, Neptune was spotted earlier, but they didn't recognize what they were looking at. They spotted it all the way back into Roman times. They thought it was a star, and they didn't track it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me deal with your first
Just
point.
what I
Your
said.
first point was maths is definitely part of science. Mathematics definition. If we go to Google and we type in mathematics,
I don't care about your definitions, Tony. Math is
I know you don't
part
care
of
about
science.
This has got to be like the eighth
By the way, Tony.
definition we're on
By the way,
already.
Tony, you said that math couldn't apply any variables. You have to understand what a
I didn't
variable
say that.
is. A variable
I didn't
can
say
be
that.
anything applied into an experiment that changes the conditions.
I
And
didn't say
changing the
that.
numbers is a variable.
I didn't say that.
Science does not dwell on definitions, Tony, especially your interpretation of definitions, which
Right.
invariably is wrong.
Yeah, really, always really distorted every time.
Anthony is using the internet, which was based off of computer science, and the laying of fiber
me just-
optic cables also uses math to distribute information through the.
Yeah, the internet is nothing but math. Everything that you send over the internet is a basically a text letter. Is text.
Internet.
Let me just ask you this though, Anthony. Why do you think it is that there aren't reputable science institutions that agree that astronomy is pseudoscience?
Because none of the people that are in what they quote as
Because nobody's smarter than Anthony. Nobody.
or what they describe as science are never, ever, 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 ever going to say that astronomy is a pseudoscience, because if it is a pseudoscience, and which by definition it is, because it doesn't have any experiments for it, it means that it's meaningless. Because in your own citation, Jeremy, it says you cannot teach the pseudosciences such as New Earth science.
Look where that citation came from. DITRH.
New Earth creation.
Right, so what
if
you're
New
saying
Earth
is then
creation
it's really...
Hang on, I haven't finished. So
But
if
you're
New
not
Earth
really
creation
answering my
is to be a pseudoscience, and by extension, so would then astronomy if they ever admitted it, you are essentially prohibiting
What
astronomy from ever
motivates
being...
them to do that, Anthony? That's really my question. What you're
Money,
saying is...
funding,
hang on.
money,
Hang on,
funding,
nearly there.
indoctrination,
Can I
brainwashing.
just get this out? What you're saying is that it's useless, but they just won't admit that it's useless. So if it's useless, how is it that so many people just won't admit that it's useless? How do you think that situation, what motivates all of those people to behave in that same way?
I'm not saying that it's useless.
Because they all work for NASA, and NASA lies to hide the shape of the Earth because they're trying to hide God from the public. And who would worship a God that can allow NASA to defeat them?
Let's be clear, I'm saying that it is pseudoscience because it isn't following and adhering to scientific method, and by definition, it is. That doesn't mean that I'm saying it's useless. I think it's fantastic that we gaze into the night sky, but it isn't science.
Hold on, but you're saying that they won't admit it, that it's pseudoscience, and you said because then they'd have to throw it all out or something like that, right?
Well, if they admit that it was pseudoscience, applying your document from earlier where they said that they couldn't teach pseudosciences such as New Earth creation, they would also have to abolish astronomy, wouldn't they? So they would never admit that for that reason.
So you're saying all of these people who they go into astronomy, they...
No, Anthony, they wouldn't have to get rid of astronomy because they understand science and you don't. They're honest and you're not. They don't have an agenda and you do.
They find out that actually it's pseudoscience and really we should throw it out, but they just keep doing it because they just don't want to admit that. And everyone that's ever gone into astronomy, including all the amateurs, they all just were motivated in the same way. They all just thought, oh, well, I better not admit that this is pseudoscience because they'll throw it out, so I'll just keep doing it. Does that seem like a reasonable idea to you?
People can never agree on anything.
Do you realize that astronomy...
Can he answer?
If we apply what your document that you cited from earlier, which prohibits the teaching of pseudosciences like New Earth creation, then it would also, by extension, include astronomy, because astronomy doesn't have any experiment to support its claim.
But they just showed you an experiment that does support it, Anthony, and you denied it. So you're not in this argument in good faith.
I understand that you think I understand that you think it should. The point is, we live in a reality where it doesn't, and I'm trying to get to the root of that. How you account for that reality that just profoundly disagrees with you on this? Why is everyone motivated to just keep pretending that these pseudosciences are science? Why do they do that? Why are nobody else coming out and from within those fields and saying, actually, this is all just pseudoscience?
I mean, that's a good question. Scientists are in competition with each other to come up with the newest thing, the newest theory, the newest hypothesis that they can experiment with and confirm and win a prize. So what would be the motivation of all scientists agreeing with each other on the thing if it wasn't true? So you've got to have some scientists out there saying, well, no, this doesn't sound right. Let me test it. But no one's ever done that, have they?
Okay, so Professor Danny Faulkner has a PhD in astronomy, correct?
Well, he's a young Earth creationist, but yes, let's carry on.
Yeah, Danny Faulkner.
No, not the but. It is a matter of fact that...
well, that's a great big fact.
Yeah, you can get a PhD from any Christian university. Yeah, but that's still pseudoscience, Anthony.
But if we're talking about his science...
No, it doesn't matter. The book is irrelevant. It is a matter of fact that PhD holding Danny Faulkner holds a PhD in astronomy, correct?
That's correct.
Right. So if a PhD holding astronomer, Danny Faulkner...
Yeah, that would be an appeal to authority.
...was then having to admit that his science that he believes he's taught or educated in was pseudoscience, do you think he'd ever admit that?
Well, I'm not asking you about what...
No, because he's indoctrinated into the Christian religion, Anthony. He's indoctrinated. Just like you into flat Earth.
One person. I'm asking you how it is that everybody is like that. And that's the situation. That's the reality that you live in, is that everybody that goes into these fields, because it's not just astronomy, remember, is it? It's paleontology, geology, cosmology, all of those things. All of those things you say are pseudoscience as well. And yet none of the people in those fields ever actually say, actually, I went into this and found out it was just pseudoscience, do they?
Yes, they do.
The only thing that you
can you give me an example?
No, they don't. Except for young Earth creationists, and they believe in the Bible over science. So they're not a credible source, Anthony.
All they have to do is define the term pseudoscience.
No. Look, I don't want your twisted definition of something, Anthony. I get that you can engineer away in your twisted mind to make this true. I'm looking for other people that agree with you, that don't just make this argument, that say, yes, I think that too. Is there anyone like that? And how do you account for the fact that there isn't? That's my question. I'm not asking you to just make your argument again. I've heard it. It's bullshit.
You asked me what would motivate people to not declare these things, and the answer is because if they ever did declare it as pseudoscience, nobody would be interested in doing it, believing it to be science. It would be a waste of money, wouldn't it?
Right. So what you're saying is that everyone ever that's gone into any of these fields of science, every single person,
pseudoscience,
every single person that's gone into one of these fields of science, that idiots like only a few handful of idiots like you determine are pseudoscience. All of the people ever that have done that, not a single one of them has come out and gone, actually, this is just a waste of time. It's all just pseudoscience. Not one ever. Now, does that seem like a likely thing to you? Now,
see, every time that someone like Anthony Riley or Flatzoid or any one of the flat earthers goes on a show like this and starts doing damage control, it's the same as the entire Republican Party kowtowing to Donald Trump and supporting him on the news, during rallies. It's the same thing. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Now, the answer to that question is not, oh, let's go and define the words again. Let's go and have a look at what it says again. That's not where the answer to that lies, Anthony. How do you account for this situation where not one of these people has ever agreed with you on this? Why do you think that is?
Thank you for unmuting me. The reason why these people are not learning science, and when you say we don't go to the definition of, yeah, we do go to the definition of pseudoscience in the same way that we went to the definition of weight in physics and the same way that we went to the definition of gravity in physics.
Well,
These
it's
are
not that, though, Anthony. It's not the same way. You're not. No, what you're doing is saying we need to know the definition of science. Right. Look up the definition of pseudoscience.
Yeah.
That's not how you define. No, you define a word by looking up that word. You don't look up what you think is the opposite to that word and then say everything that isn't this is that. That's not how it works, Anthony.
Jeremy, your document that you cited before expressly said that we do not teach pseudosciences such as New Earth creation. And when I say astronomy is a pseudoscience, you then say, well, why are you saying that? And I say, because it's a defined term that's not based on scientific method. Neither of them are.
I know why you think that. I know why you think that. I'm asking why you think that. I'm asking you why no one agrees with you.
No.
Yes.
Only
my question. That is essentially my question. Why does no one agree with you?
Yes, so when you say when nobody agrees with me, in this room, nobody agrees with me, because in this room, it is a room of fanatics.
Okay. And the entire science community doesn't agree with you.
Objective reality, where these things are defined.
Does anyone agree with you? Does anyone agree with you in objective reality that isn't like a follower of Nathan, basically a YouTube flat earther or a Discord flat earther? Is there anyone? Is there anyone?
Anybody that defines the term pseudoscience?
Well, Kyle Adams, he's a professor, right?
With me because
is there a person you can name, not just make your stupid argument again and say anyone that agrees with me agrees with me? I'm asking you to name a specific person or a specific body that agrees with you, or alternatively, since we both know there are no such people or bodies, explain why you think it is that no one agrees with you. And if your explanation is really, oh, well, everyone was just scared they'd take the science away through all of history forever, I don't think that seems like a very good explanation.
The person that would agree with me reasonably, the object.
I mean, he said, well, nobody will disagree with anybody else because then they'll get thrown out of the Cool Kids Club. What about Brian Cox? Brian Cox came up with string theory. Anybody throw him out of the Cool Kids Club? No, they didn't, did they? But everybody disagreed with him. So your whole theory on that is wrong.
Objective person would be any judge that looks at the definition for the words.
Proven by one of your citations there, Anthony. You cited Brian Cox.
Pseudoscience.
Well, you say that, but you would say that, wouldn't you, Anthony? What?
I have to double.
You're saying it.
I have to double click on the damn window to get it to play.
I agree with me,
Sucks.
and people I imagine that they agree with me. I can imagine them agreeing with me. So people would agree. Is there an actual person, Anthony, a person with a name or an institution which actually has a name that agrees with you? No, there isn't, Anthony. Is there? Why, Anthony?
An authority, a luminary.
Yeah, I just googled it. Apparently, even Danny Faulkner doesn't agree with you that astronomy is a pseudoscience.
I did not say what
you said. A judge would agree with you. You don't know a judge would agree with you. That's something you've imagined.
You asked me to identify one person that would agree with me, and my answer was not the way you said it. My answer was...
I didn't say nominate an occupation of someone who might agree with you. I said name a person who agrees with you. That means give the name of the person, not the occupation of someone who, again, you imagined. There is no judge that's agreed with you, is there?
Well, Anthony just refuses to contract with you. He's not going to give you a name.
Unless you can name one.
So my answer is the objective position that is not your consensus-driven reality. It is the objective that would
stop, hold on.
Damn, who would name their child that? What was this poor unfortunate child named? What was it?
Just googled it. Apparently, even Danny Faulkner doesn't.
See, I can't use my arrow keys to fast forward through this video.
Agree with you that astronomy is a pseudoscience.
I did not say what
you said. A judge would agree with you. You don't know a judge would agree with you. That's something you've imagined.
You asked me to identify one person that would agree with me.
Right, one person by name.
And my answer was not the way you said it. My answer was...
I didn't say nominate an occupation of someone who might agree with you. I said name a person who agrees with you. That
very, very specific instructions, Anthony. Let's see if he can understand them.
Means give the name of the person, not the occupation of someone who, again, you imagined. There is no judge that's agreed with you, is there? Unless you can name one.
So my answer is the objective position that is not your consensus-driven reality. It is the objective position that would
My answer is the objective position. See, that's a horrible name for a child, Anthony. Why would anyone name their kid that?
Stop. Hold on. Where do I go to find objective positions? Where are they written down?
You go to a court. You ask them to define the term.
So until now, then, since this hasn't been.
No, he asked for a name, Anthony, not to define a term. He asked for a name. You have trouble answering questions, don't you?
Into a court, your claimed objective position is actually your subjective position, isn't it? There is no objective position written down for this, is there?
Not my subjective position. You're incorrectly citing what I say. I define the term pseudoscience from internet. That is not my interpretation. That is not my definition, just the definition online. It is defined as a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded to be based on scientific method. And astrology is not based on scientific method.
Well, cool. You're going by definitions. Cool.
It is based on observation
it's
only.
Astronomy, Anthony. Astronomy.
Whatever. Astronomy, same shit.
It's
Same
not
shit.
the same shit. Astrology is star signs, Anthony. It's
Doesn't
Taurus
matter.
and Aries. It's
Doesn't
you have to
matter.
meet.
Here we go. Gravity, the force that attracts a body toward the center of the earth or toward any other physical body having mass. There's the definition for gravity, Anthony. You like definitions. There's the definition for gravity.
Somebody lovely. That's not
doesn't
what
matter.
it does matter. Anthony, it really matters. Every time you say astrology, you sound like a moron who doesn't know the difference
He doesn't know the difference between astronomy and astrology.
between astrology and astronomy. Now, again, we're just
Hilarious.
down to you defining something. Why isn't there anyone that agrees with you? Not someone you imagine would agree with you, someone actually a person who has already stated that they agree with you.
Apparently, not even Danny Faulkner agrees with you, bro.
No, absolutely he doesn't.
Obviously, there's no.
I've interviewed Danny Faulkner.
Obviously, there's no rational conversation in this room. I'm going to depart with you guys because I keep getting
oh, see, you're going to rage quit.
Muted, and I'm not able to.
I'm
Jeremy
sorry,
will
Anthony.
not say my
Listen,
word
I'll
back.
bow out. I'll bow out so you can talk to other people, and then you won't be muted, okay? And then you can
Aw.
stay on, right?
Poor baby.
Why are the definitions so important to you? But which word you're using?
So, yeah. Yeah, total waste of 2 hours because you can't understand simple stuff, man.
We've just been through 2 hours. That was a total waste of my time, and you have
No, it was a total waste of their time, Anthony. You got what you wanted out of it, so it wasn't a total waste.
seen how Jeremy admits that he mutes people, and even admits.
Yeah, just like Anthony Riley mutes people, but Anthony Riley mutes people under bad faith reasons.
That it is hypocritical. We have seen.
And you fundy muted everyone, man. You fundy muted everyone on that panel by not allowing them to answer your questions or complete a thought.
That the anti-flat earthers are unable to define atmospheric pressure upon.
No, we've defined atmospheric pressure. You reject the definition.
Request. Given that's their explanation for how we breathe, I don't think that's acceptable. They are unable to.
You can't define anything. You have to look for definitions of other things to define things.
Define gravity upon request.
Yes, we have defined gravity. We most certainly did. You didn't understand it.
Given that's how they explain the cause of the gradient, I find that unacceptable.
And you can't answer a single simple question of does an object's density change under free fall? You can't answer that question. You can't define that.
And they refuse to accept that they deny all evidence contrary to their opinion.
Right. No, they did not say they deny evidence contrary to their opinion because it's not their opinion. It's the scientific consensus. And yes, your bullshit, we deny your bullshit because it disagrees with the scientific method and the scientific consensus. Sorry, buddy.
They'll fight like Billy O, as we've just seen. And Jeremy insists that the teaching of New Earth creation is illegal, despite being shown how it is not. There is literally no point in discussing science with these.
No, it's not illegal. Teaching New Earth creation is not illegal in religion class, dipshit. It is illegal in science class. You know, if you have safety procedures set down, right, and you're only allowed to do shop class in a shop that has the proper equipment and the proper safety equipment, you go into an English class and start rebuilding an engine with cleaning fluids flying around, that would be considered illegal. It's context, it's time, place, and manner.
Fanatics.
Just so horrible, such a liar, such a pathological liar. So anyway, that was the debunk for today. Don't really have anything else. Haven't done a playlist at all, but I'm going to stay on here and leave the live stream running and take questions from people. So, yeah. And I don't really want to show the chat because there might be bad things shown on the chat. That's a nice flying V. Very nice. Very cool. So anyway, I'm going to leave it on here and we can leave the activity. And yeah. What are you playing? Oh. American classical music, modern American classical music is, a lot of people like it. I'm not a big fan. To me, it just sounds like New York traffic. A lot of it sounds like New York traffic. It's just a lot of congestion. Just that's the impression I get of it. And I mean, I can see why, because classical music has always reflected the spirit of the time. it just sounds like hustle and bustle and traffic and just not getting anywhere. I mean, it's pretty to listen to. Sorry. I believe that song is called Rhapsody in Blue. It's one of my dad's favorite songs. Flight of the Bumblebee.
Hey everyone.
That's Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin with some Flight of the Bumblebee and I don't know what the Russian Cossack song? Maybe. I don't know. This is my favorite classical piece. It's called 4 minutes.
Now a performance
4 minutes 33 seconds
of John Cage's 433. Please welcome our soloist, William Marks.
This is the only classical music. This is the only classical piece that I can play on piano. I can play it on any instrument. Starts the clock. There we go. Glad this song wasn't done in the 70s to where you had like extended versions. Second movement. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. And he's actually reading music. He's reading it. Yeah, a couple beers would be nice. That would be the Jack Black version. Third movement. Everything we do is music. That's the premise. Oh, he's got it memorized. He does have it memorized. That's it. There you go. 4 minutes, 33 seconds, or 4:33. William Marks was the soloist. Palm Desert, that's down south. But anyway, that's one of my favorite. That's my favorite classical piece. Because it's the only one I can play. Yeah, he sucked. Too quiet. He was too loud. Anyway. So, I mean, Discord's open. Bev said he was going to come over and teach me a thing or two. He never showed up, did he? Never showed up. See if he's live. No, he's not live. So I'm going to turn my camera off. And I'll turn my mic off until some other people come in. We just go through videos. Do that.
No more. You don't drag his tail on the floor. I think this pigeon love is gone. I think this pigeon love is over. Pigeon love, we're getting shit on from above. Pigeon love, we're getting shit on from above. You don't puke in my mouth no more. You don't drag his tail on the floor. I think this pigeon love is gone. I think this pigeon love is over. Pigeon love, we're getting shit on.
Love the hell out of Z Frank, man. Z Frank is awesome. If anybody here is not familiar with Z Frank,
you don't puke in.
Yeah.
When they
Let's see what Jack of Trades has on Flatzoid now.
finally stripped you off.
Sensationalism. What the hell is he talking about?
I think they're making something new up.
So he doesn't know what sensationalism means.
Does anybody else know what sensationalism is?
And he claims, and they all claim to be smarter than everybody, but they don't know what simple words mean.
I've never heard of it.
I've heard of it. I've heard of people talking about it. I'm just saying, sensational religion.
Sensational religion
focuses scholarly attention on the robust material entanglements of the scan edged by modernity's metaphysics and on the intricate connections to human. What? That can't be right. Sensation. That's sensational religion. Wow. Sorry. I was because the first one I just put about what is sensationalism. This one I put in religion, and
It gave me the wrong thing. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. Sorry, dude. Carry on.
2 syllables. Demarcation.
God, what a doofus. Yeah, this is let's see, playlists. Creepy Dave. Creepy Dave. Here, let's Pigeon love, getting shit on from above. And how do they're gonna give me the playlist?
Best favorite animal called farts. Farts.
Best favorite animal called farts. Let me go back to the there we go. Creepy Dave is a character from Z Frank's videos. So he made like a whole series of a whole playlist on character Dave or Creepy Dave telling us his favorite animal of the day.
Today is best favorite animal called farts. Farts look like a spaghetti beaver, but it's not spaghetti beaver. Those are really long. It's more like a cat version of a hot dog, or like a stretch limousine mouse. Anyway, there's 2 kinds of farts. One is people keep as pet. It's very useful. If you have too much straws, they eat it for you. Or they can check your house for safeties on top of straw. Other kind of fart is outdoor kind. Isn't dangerous. Maybe because it tried too hard, or it get lost in holes. So always check your holes. Maybe you'll find a fart. It's best animal. Okay, bye.
Always check your holes. You might find a fart.
It's Creepy Dave.
Damn it. It didn't give the whole can I drag it in there? No. Why won't it give me the whole fucking playlist? Oh, there we go. That should do it. We'll just watch these. There we go.
His best favorite animal called farts. Farts look like a spaghetti. Today, his best favorite #1 animal called purgs. Purgs does look kind of like a dog.
Kind of like a dog. We're just gonna watch them all. They're only about they're shorts, so they're only like a minute long. But yeah, he's one of my favorite YouTubers.
But maybe half. Like you'd probably need like 2 purgses to make one real dog. Today, his best favorite #1 animal called purgs. Purgs does look kind of like a dog, but maybe half. Like you'd probably need like 2 purgses to make one real dog. It's so cool. His body like a perfect shape. His triangle looks like maybe it's a larva of a seal. Purg face looked like someone grabbed his piggy tail and pulled his nose parts into his chestises. That kind of face is so good for eating. This way you can have your eyeballs so close to your food. Purgs can jump really high. I think this one's getting ready. Come on, Purg, show them you can fly. Okay, maybe he's embarrassed. Anyway, sometimes Purgs is a little stuck up. Oh, everybody, look at my fancy butthole. I mean, everybody does look. It's pretty great, but don't need to brag. But it's okay. You can let Purg show off his fancy butthole. Maybe when he grow up to be a seal, he catch fish for you. That's why it's best animal. Okay, bye. This is Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today, his best favorite animal is called Gryphophus. Gryphophus' face looked like if a cow had like a vacuum attached to his butthole and sucked out all the meats in his face parts. On top, there are two like cartoon bumps. It's for the monkeys to hold on to when they ride them. Gryphophus walk real cool. It's like, don't care. If you play backward, look like someone in leopard leggings with a really nice butt. To drink waters, Gryphophus bend down kind of like a drunk person trying to pick up a quarter. Spread the legs for balance. Because they're so tall, Gryphophus are vulnerable to many things. Like get hit in face by drunk Purgs, or if like people forget to clean up their volleyball nets. It's a tangled mess. It's how most of them die. Not holes. They can fall in holes. It's okay. Their heads stick out. This is why they're best animal. Okay, bye. Come on, monkeys, let's ride. Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today, his best favorite animal, he's called Peace and Balls. As you can see, under the peace ball come with many plugs. It's for recharging your dog. The faces of the Peace and Balls have a really cool shape. It's kind of look like a bicycle seat that went to the gym, maybe. But not like a normal bicycle seat. It's like your grandpapa's bicycle seat. It's like extra wide. Peace and Balls have so much meats. It's like always flex your muscles like Steve. But they have so much licks and kisses. Too much licks. Anyway, some people think pizza balls is dangerous. Like this one just killed a bear. But like your mama can be dangerous if you give her scissors and say, let's pretend helicopter. Everybody can be stupid if you learn them stupid. Be nice to Peace and Balls. Give you so much licks and kisses. That's why they're best favorite animal. Okay, bye. Remember, don't give your mama scissors. This is Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today, his best favorite animal is called Haggadog.
I want to buy one. I want to buy the man titties T-shirt.
Haggadog. As you can see, Haggadog is covered with tiny spikes. It grows a new spike every time it gets hurt feelings. Like if someone say, how come your face looks like the tip of a pencil? It grows new spikes. And then it curl up in a ball and say, nobody come close. I don't want any hugs and kisses. But it really does want hugs and kisses. It's like Steve. However, Haggadog is vulnerable for attacks from below. Maybe angry worms or pancake beaver. Oh, I hate the pancake beavers. But spice is good sometimes, like if you play Poppy Poppy balloons, or like if you forget toothpicks for roasting tiny marshmallows, or maybe make like painful soup. Anyway, if you see a Haggadog, and tell him you need hugs and kisses. It makes your feelings better. It's why the best animal. Okay, bye. This is Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay.
Painful soup.
Today, his best favorite animal is called Armadillo. You know, if like a dragon does something really, really mean and then it dies, he's come back as armadillos to practice being nice again. It's like time out. Sometimes they get sad and can't really fly with those tiny wings. But they have really strong armor, probably made from steels and maybe look like pubes? They don't know. Anyway, there's a few different kinds of armadillos. One kind of look like your hungover uncle being eaten by a snake. Other kind have feet look like someone glued broken Barbie doll parts to his legs. Probably is good for sneak up on chickens. Sometimes they curl up into like a ball shape to like have special time. Maybe think about what they did. It looks hard to do, but it's pretty easy for me. I can teach you. Step 1, locate your butthole. Step 2, put your nose where you found your butthole. At this point, you are probably the most shape of ball you can be. Just remember, don't breathe. That's why the best favorite animal. Okay, bye. Today, his best favorite animal is called Chihuahua. Chihuahuas is like when you buy a dog, but then forget to take it out of the box. It can't go big, so stay really small. But inside Chihuahuas grow really big feelings. Uh-oh. You got to let them out. That's probably why sometimes Chihuahuas get a little bit shaky. Or maybe it's cold, or he swallowed lots of bees. They don't know. Anyway, Chihuahua have tiny little legs. It's even small for a tiny body. Probably used up all the meats to make Chihuahua's giant forehead. It's so big. It's probably because it think big thoughts, like, why is it hard to say sorry sometimes? Or if you had an extra leg, where would it go? I know, in the back. It's easy. Anyway, if you see Chihuahua, you can say, it's okay to have big feelings. If you let them out, maybe you can feel better. I don't know. This is why it's best favorite animal. Okay, bye. Don't swallow bees. This is Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today, his best favorite, #1 animals, his name is Socrapi. Socrapi's looks so cool, is designed for camouflaging. If they stands with a group of zebras, Okrapi's bottom half disappear, and they look just like a floating donkey. Even lions is scared of donkey ghosts. Okrapi has 2 horns. These don't look so good. Maybe Okrapapa needs to go to a horny doctor. Well, just take a look. Maybe needs cream or hugs and kisses to make it better. I don't know. Anyway, Okrapi's best weapon is his tongue. Tongue is so big, it's like if your tongue work out, like Steve. It's very dangerous. If Okrapi's tongue go inside like a gerbil or a hamster's, the hamster would explode and be a big mess. So if you see Okrapi, keep your hamster safe. Maybe with duct tapes or put it in a hole. Okrapi finds something else to eat. It's the best animal. Okay, bye. This is Creepy Dave, and we'll show. Okay. Today is best favorite animal called Flaming Hole. Flaming Holes have a really tiny face. Oops. It's just sideways flaming hole. Flaming holes look like a bird, but have very long neck. They use so much meats for the neck, there was no meats left for the legs. Their kneecaps look like someone trying to suck a marble through a straw. With tiny legs, they have to be careful for foot sweeps, or kick to the leg, or punch to the leg, or make fun of them, and if they cry, they steal something. Anyway, they can fly just like a bird. When they take off, it looks like someone falling backward. Whoa! As you can see, some flaming hose is red to look at. Maybe they're embarrassed about their kneecaps. Don't be embarrassed, Berg. It's okay if people laugh at you sometime. You laugh too. This is really the best animal. Okay, bye. This is Groovy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today is my best favorite animal. He's called man-titties. Man-titties kind of look like a thumb, but like not circumcised. He's very beautiful. He has a really cool mustache, like Steve. Is cool. Man-titties have eyes that look like tiny little buttholes. But it's not a butthole. They used to see. Man-titties always love to pretend to be a vacuum cleaner. But they make a real big mess. Hey, fish, it's not about you. So sad for you, they are endangered. It's probably because they can't find right-sized holes, or maybe from her feelings. People can be mean. Some people call them turd mermaids, or mer-turds, or turd maids, or sometimes just turds. That's not nice. Be nice to man-titties. Anyway, his best animal. Okay, bye. That's me, Creepy Dave. This is Creepy Dave. Okay, today is my favorite best animal called Crappy Barbara. As you can see, Crappy Barbas have a sort of monkey face. They don't have no nose, but they have scary eyes, like a demon. Sometimes Crappy Barbaras stare into space. Maybe think about killing a chicken, I don't know. Oops, Creepy Dave make mistake. It's not a demon monkey, it's just second face of Crappy Barbie. But the world is dangerous. Many are made into Crappy Barba lemon soup. Others must fight their worst enemies, the Bergs. Don't do it, Berg. Don't. Oh, he did it. Many hours later, we see the Berg eating the remains of the vanquished Crappy Barba. It's sad. This is why it's best animal. Okay, bye. Here comes Creepy Dave. Hey, everybody. Everybody come.
Yeah, this is Creepy Dave.
Call me Creepy Dave. Hey, crows. Okay, it's too much crows. Wait, who's that? All right. Okay. Here comes a Creepy Dave. That's what people call me. How you doing? Okay, you walk away. Uh-oh. Creepy Dave made a pee-pee. It's everywhere. Whoopsie. Creepy Dave. Today, his best favorite animal, he's called a Heffalump. The Felflons have a really big head. It's like win every contest for really big heads, like maybe on Tuesday, I don't know. These have big floppy ears too, so for the monkeys to use as blankets. But it has forgot to grow feet. The leg part just sort of stop. They do have shoes, it's kind of look like a bucket, so they don't really wear them. That's okay. As you can see, every Felflon has his own hand puppet. This is not great hand puppet, don't even have eyes, but they put on lots of shows. Like this one's called Henry Go for a Swim. This one's called Daisy Find a Chip. It's really not the best puppet shows. Here you can see two Heffalumps making a show for their friends. One stand behind the other one for the illusion that he's not there. Anyway, if you see Heffalumps, draw little eyes on their hand puppets. They don't have a pen. It's about their best animal. Okay, bye. Come on, monkeys, time for a nap. This is Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today his best favorite animal, he's called Greatodon. As you can see, Greatodon is very small as giraffes, and sometimes they make him have sad feelings. He said, I don't want to be tiny Griffafa. So that's why he tell people he's a big dog. He's not, and that's crazy. Because Greatodon forgets to grow his giraffe's neck, he has lots of extra skin on his face parts. He's like the lips is bigger than the ears. Naughty monkeys try hiding there. Sometimes look a little like a ghost of a cow. What's cow ghost say? Boo or moo? Get it? Anyway, even though Greatodon pretend to be a big dog, inside it's just tiny Griffafa. He's like a little tiny baby. If you see Greatodon, let him pretend. It's okay. Sometimes people need to feel bigger than they really is. This is why it's best animal. Okay, bye. Remember, he's not a dog. It's Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today is my best favorite, number one animal. He's called Berdagadorgans. Berdagadorgans have a really cool face. Lots of spikes, not for kisses. Sometimes they stare into space. Let me think about it. What if I had a better job? They have a job, it's just not a good one. They make Tic Tacs. It's not easy. There's a lot of work just to fill one little boxes. Sometimes I play it backwards and pretend it's a long-nosed dragon eating Tic Tacs. It's just pretend. Anyway, hold on. I think little Timmy has a question. What's your question, little Timmy? Oh, wait, maybe you don't have a question. Anyway, as I was saying, Timmy, why you raise your hand? Oh, he's just pet his invisible pig. Listen, Timmy's a pretty good guy, but he's a little weird. Sure, Timmy. We see the pig. Oh, boy. If you see a Berdagadon, say thank you for the Tiki-Takis. And maybe tell them it's better to smell things first, before you put your tongue on them. That's why they're best animal. Okay, bye. It's Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Basically, it's my best favorite day forever. It's called Halloweenses. You know how you tell children, like, just be yourselves? On Halloweenses, it's like worst idea. If you be yourself, people think you're kind of lame. It's confusing for me. You say children says don't walking in the streets, especially if it's dark, because you're probably gonna die. Except on Halloween's, it's like main mode of transportations. It's like a curveball. The whole year you tell the chargers, don't take candies from the Strangerdettes. They're probably gonna die. But like Halloween says, you get a whole bag of things from people you don't know. Then you put them in your mouth hole. Except if it's an apple. Don't eat it. Those people are weirdos. This was my best favorite day. Keep children on their toes. Okay, bye. You're probably gonna die. This is Creepy Dave, Animal Show, and other things. Today's best favorite animal is called Godardodon Retriever-Dots. It's such a cool dog. You know how sometimes it's like, where did the good news fairy go? It's like, no good news. It's bad news fairy take poop on every day. Did good news fairy die? No, it's just she has another job, too. Every time Golderdong's pupsies is born, a good news fairy gives it a kiss, so it'd be happy its whole life. Kiss means it's never be bald. It's grow long golden hairs forever. So much hairs they leave them on pillows or beds or carpets, so people who don't have hairs can use them for themselves. It's so nice. But a kiss from Good News Fairy can be dangerous. It can turn part of your brain into candy. It's okay. It just means Gedankedontions sometimes don't make best choices. Like roll around in things that smell bad or eat the poop from cat. Golden Donger don't eat the poops from cats. This is why it's my best favorite animal. Okay, bye. Creepy Dave, Animal Show. Okay. Today's best favorite holiday is called Christosimus. As you can see, people buy the head of a tree. Is to celebrate when they vanquished the trees in the Great War of the Trees. Then people take tree at home and keep them alive in sweet, sweet sugar waters. But then people put decorative weights all over this tree. Used to remind them who it was that was vanquished in the War of the Trees. It was they were. Then your cat will probably pee under the tree to symbolize the peeing of the cats. Then they probably knocked down some decorative weights, also to symbolize the peeing of the cats. It's confusing, I know. To further humiliate the tree, people use arms of trees to make decorative buttholes. Then they hang these tree buttholes at the entrance of their houses. Come in, it's Christosimus. Finally, when the tree is almost out of sugary water, people put presents under the tree, wrapped in a thin, dried pulp of dead trees, to remind them who was vanquished in the War of the Trees.
Who was vanquished in the War of the Trees. Anyway. So all these flat earthers who wanted a piece of me, none of them are showing up, huh? Isn't that weird? Too bad. I even tagged 3 of them in the description. Haven't seen SSUM lately for the last 3 or 4 days. See when the last time he was on was. He went live 3 days ago. Mine was the last video he did live. And this is 2 weeks ago. So, weird. So, Sovereign Soul isn't doing anything. So I'm gonna put it on speaker and just listen for anybody who comes in. And if anybody wants to talk, they can. I mean, this is a Discord chat live stream. So there we go.